Chapter 501. How about you teach me pill refinement? Yi Zichen touched the snow rabbit. Spiritual beasts are truly similar to pets in the modern realm. The only difference was that there was demonic aura lingering in their bodies. It was fortunate that it was a spiritual beast. If it was a normal modern realm pet, it would have died a long time ago. Its meridians were in a mess, and its organs were displaced. It seems like Zheng Jun truly wanted to kill it. The reason why the snow rabbit was able to run over was because it wanted to tell its older sister to run. My little brother, wait a moment, I have to find an expert. With that, Yi Zichen told Lil White to use Yao's spiritual energy to stabilize the snow rabbit, then took out his phone to find old Lord Taishang. Geezer, do you have any spiritual pills that can heal Yao beasts? Give me several tens of bottles. Are you crazy? Old Lord Taishang instantly replied. Are you really treating this old man as your medicine warehouse? You could just come to me for any pills you want. Then what do you think I should do? You're the only pill refiner I know. Yi Zichen twitched his mouth. I wouldn't have come to find you if I knew someone else. How about you teach me pill refinement? I heard that pill refiners are pretty amazing in the three realms. If I can get pill refinement from old Lord Taishang, then I'll be in trouble. You want to learn pill refinement? Yes. No way. Old Lord Taishang frowned and replied. Old Lord Taishang raised his eyebrows and replied on the phone screen. Those who want to learn alchemy from me, who doesn't kowtow 3 times and bow 9 times to acknowledge me as their master. Only by following this old man for 3,000 years can you learn pill refinement. Oh, then I won't learn it. You provide me with pills. This geezer is rather devious. He want me to be his servant for 3,000 years. What a joke. You brat, no. Old Lord Taishang also lost his temper. Yi Zichen quickly replied, Stop messing around. My life is at stake. Hurry up and send me the pills. I'll get Lao to give you 2 sets of sexy lingerie for your wife to wear. F***ck off. A bunch of angry emojis instantly filled the screen. At the same time, a red packet also appeared on the screen. Poke, you received old Lord Taishang's red packet. Recovery Pill X1 Demon Spirit Recovery Pill. Earth Rank 3 Beast Core. Refined from an Earth Rank 3 Beast Core. Thanks. Yi Zichen sent old Lord Taishang a few kiss emojis, then took out the pill and stuffed it into the rabbit's mouth. Help him absorb the demon spirit core, then he should be fine. About an hour later, the snow rabbit gradually transformed back into the handsome young man. When he transformed, he was still wearing a white robe. Yi Zichen couldn't help but mutter to himself. Could their clothes have been transformed from hair? If it was winter, it would be able to withstand the cold. Sister, the young man lying on the ground, opened his eyes, and his weak cries reached Lin Shue's ears, causing her entire body to glow with a strange light. After carefully checking to see if he felt any discomfort, she knelt in front of Yi Zichen. My lord, you saved my life. Lin Shui has no way to repay you, so I can only... Don't think about repaying me with your body. He can't have any more women by his side. Mo walked over with a smile. No, Lin Shui doesn't dare to hope for that. Lin Shui just wants to be my lord's servant in order to repay this favor. Lin Shui shook her head repeatedly. Lin Shui continuously shook her head. Yi Zichen sighed, then helped her up with a smile. It was nothing, don't mind it too much. How can I do that? Then follow me from now on, and Mo smiled. I won't be at ease if you follow him. Follow me from now on. No one will dare to bully you. Then can my little brother come with me? As for him, Mo squinted her eyes and frowned. I don't like men. I'm not familiar with appearing by my side. How about I let him follow Yi Zichen? Zuemo actually said that out of selfishness. If the young man followed Yi Zichen, then she would have an excuse to find Yi Zichen in the future. Lil White, take care of this young man from now on. No problem. Xiaobai grinned and walked to the side of the white-robed youth, who still had not figured out the situation. She smiled and said, In the future, you will follow Lord White. You will have a good life. If anyone dares to bully you, tell Lord White. I will definitely support you. Okay. A day passed by in the blink of an eye. Yi Zichen and company stayed in the city for another night, then hurried over to the nine-tailed fox clan's territory the next morning. During this period, Lin Shui and Lin Li also became more familiar with them. Especially Lin Shui and Zui Mo, they were like sisters. Of course, Lin Shui wasn't stupid enough to think that they were sisters. She still had to abide by the rules of seniority. The nine-tailed fox clan. The birthday banquet of the clan's third miss could be said to be a celebration for the entire clan. The main reason was that the third miss, who had just ascended, was greatly favored by the other two misses in the clan. The clansmen of the central continent arrived one after another, each holding a red invitation card in their hands. Big Brother Zichin, we don't have invitations. Little White blinked. They were now standing in front of the nine-tailed fox clan city gates, waiting dumbly. We'll get one soon. Don't worry. Yi Zichin had already sent Su Yin a message when they arrived, and Su Yin replied that she would come out to get them later. I really didn't expect you to have connections with a nine-tailed fox clan. Yi Zichin, are you really someone from the Immortal region? Mo couldn't help but raise her eyebrows. It was one thing for Yi Zichin to be related to the Tiango clan. After all, she knew that Yi Zichin was from the Sacred Land, so it was understandable for someone from the Sacred Land to have connections in the Beast region. However, the Tiango, the Nine-Tailed Fox, and the Fire Phoenix, they were all peak powers. Yi Zichin actually knew all of them. Oh wow, it really is a small world. I actually bumped into you guys here. A discordant snicker sounded out. When everyone turned around, they saw Zhang Yingjun walk towards them with a playful smile. As for his injuries, they had already healed. Since the Black Fox clan was one of the Fox Yaos, it was natural for them to have that sort of ability. Look at your annoying look. Are you asking for a beating? Yi Zichin raised his eyebrows, causing Zhang Yingjun to subconsciously take a step back in fright. However, he quickly snorted with a mocking expression. You want to scare me in our Fox Yao's territory? Lil bro, you bumped into someone familiar? A man with a shoehorn face appeared behind Zhang Yingjun as he mocked Yi Zichin. The man wore a long black robe with a furry collar, coupled with his shoehorn face. Ugh. Familiar? Bro, don't joke around. My arm was hit by these grandsons yesterday. Zhang Yingjun was like a bullied little bean bun getting beaten up by his parents. Take back what you said just now or else die. Jail King took a step forward. His terrifying aura caused both Zhang Yingjun and the man beside him to raise their eyebrows. Very soon, the man walked in front of Yi Zichin with a smile and reached out his hand. Chapter 502. Inviolable Gloriahem. Yi Zichin couldn't help but blink when he heard their self-introduction, while Lil White couldn't help but laugh. So amazing. This name is truly amazing. Bro, what's there to know about them? Zhang Yingjun saw that his brother didn't help him get revenge, and instead went to introduce himself. Thus, his expression turned a bit ugly. Yingjun. Zhang Yobi squinted his eyes. The people in front of him were clearly not people to be messed with. Being able to take human form in the Endless Beast region represented their identity and status. In his impression, his little brother wasn't such an insensible person. Brother, do you still not understand? This group of people is actually a human caravan. Otherwise, why would they be standing here? They clearly want to get involved with us, the Fox Yaos, but they can't enter without an invitation. Zhang Yingjun snorted in disdain. Zhang Yingjun snorted in disdain. Monsters from big races like them didn't care about human caravans at all. It was like how locals looked at outsiders. No matter how strong you are, you're still an outsider in my eyes. Humans? Zhang Niobi was momentarily stunned, then quickly revealed a look of disdain on his face. Humans? Then what's the point of bullshitting with them? It's actually a human merchant group. I thought they were from a certain family. Since they are humans, then we have a lot to talk about. Zhang Niobi twisted his neck and raised his eyebrows. You hit my little brother. How are you going to pay for it? The sudden change in attitude caused Yi Zichin and company to be rather speechless. Yi Zichin shrugged. I hit him. So what do you want me to do? What? Zhang Niobi, am rather amazing in the central continent. The glory of the Black Fox Yaos is inviolable. I heard that you human merchant groups are rather rich. Compensate my little brother 50 million Yao coins, then kneel down and apologize to my little brother. Ugh. Ha ha. Yi Zichen suddenly couldn't help but laugh. Seeing that, Jin Ingjun raised his eyebrows. Bro, look, why is he laughing? He definitely got scared by my dominating aura. Zhan Nyobi snorted proudly. Zhan Nyobi snorted proudly and said, in the central continent, no one dares to show off in front of me. Zhan Nyobi, I'll avenge you later. At that time, not only will I make him pay, I'll also make him lose face. As soon as he finished speaking, he put his hands on his waist and took 2 steps forward, raising his chin and snorting arrogantly. Kid, don't think that I'll let you off just because you put on such a pitiful face. Cough, you must be joking. Yi Zichen cracked his neck, then glanced at Zhun Ingjuan's table. Lousy hasn't been able to properly stretch out ever since I came to the 3 realms. Since you guys are so thick-skinned and want to get beaten up, I'll satisfy you. He hooked his finger at them, and Zhun Ingjun immediately came over. Brother, humph, you're still pretending to be an idiot. Everyone attack. We must beat this brat into submission. Let him know that the honor of our Black Fox Demon clan cannot be violated. Zhan Nyobi and Zhun Ingjun charged over with the people behind them, while Yi Zichen merely stood there with a faint smile. Bang, bang, bang. In mere moments, Zhan Ingjun, Zhan Nyobi, and the clansmen behind them were all beaten black and blue as they laid on the ground. Cocky? Yi Zichen squatted down in front of the 2 brothers with his hands in his pockets, then slapped Zhan Nyobi. Are you still cocky or not? Brat, you cheated. Zhan Nyobi shouted angrily as he laid on the ground. They all thought that the one who wanted to fight them was Yi Zichen, but none of them expected it to be Jail King and the guest chamberlains who came with Lil White. All of them were complete stage, human immortal, and sky immortal level experts. No matter how cocky Zhan Nyobi was, they had to beat him up until he wasn't cocky. I didn't say that I was going to fight you guys one-on-one, right? Yi Zichen smiled, then patted Zhan Nyobi's face. Don't call me Zhan Nyobi from now on. Just call me Bun Nyobi, got it? This is the territory of the Fox Yaos. You dare, bang. Yi Zichen kicked Zhan Nyobi's stomach, then squinted his eyes and twitched his mouth, then put his hand beside his ear. What did you say just now? I'm hard of hearing, so I couldn't hear you clearly. I said this is a Fox Yao. Bang. What did you say? Fox Yao bang. What did you say? After repeating this 6 or 7 times, Zhan Nyobi finally shut up and stopped mentioning the Fox Yao's territory. Yi Zichen also stopped bullying him. Are you still cocky? Nope, nope, nope. Nope, nope, nope. Zhan Nyobi continuously shook his head. Yi Zichen squinted his eyes with a smile. The honor of the Black Fox Yaos is inviolable. Do as you please. Zhan Nyobi replied with a coy smile. Only then did Yi Zichen nod in satisfaction. He lifted his foot off Zhan Nyobi's back and slowly walked in front of Zhan Ingjun. Big bro, I'm Bu Ingjun. I'm not handsome at all. Look at my face, it's already like this. Zhan Ingjun didn't want to get beaten up anymore. He instantly softened when he saw his older brother get beaten up so viciously. Bang! What greeted him was a merciless kick. Did I ask you a question? Just speak. Are you trying to show off your high IQ? Did you learn how to answer first? No, no. Zhan Ingjun repeatedly shook his head with a forced smile. Bang! Yi Zichen kicked him again. Zhan Ingjun, who was kicked, muttered pitifully, I didn't say anything. I didn't say anything. Why did you kick me again? I just want to kick you when I see you like that. Is there a problem? Yi Zichen smiled playfully with his hands in his pockets. Zhan Ingjun quickly shook his head with a sullen expression. There's no problem at all. Although that was what he said, he was calculating when the people from the Nine-Tailed Fox clan would arrive. The Black Fox Yaos were the subordinates of the Nine-Tailed Fox. Although they didn't have a particularly high status, they were still part of the Fox Yaos, so the Nine-Tailed Fox clan couldn't just ignore them. Plenty of other clansmen who came to attend the birthday party also noticed the situation. Confusion surfaced in their eyes when they saw that someone from the Black Fox clan was bullied, beating up a lackey in the boss's territory. That's a slap to the face. However, since the people from the Nine-Tailed Fox clan hadn't arrived yet, they didn't know how the situation would change after a while. As long as there's no problem, Yi Zichen smiled, then reached out his hand towards Zhen Ingjun. Zhen Ingjun thought that Yi Zichen was going to hit him, so he quickly covered his face and lowered his head. Yi Zichen couldn't help but shake his head with a smile when he saw his comical look, then kicked him. "Don't cover your face. Lousy doesn't want to hit you right now. Come, give me your invitations." "You won't be able to enter even if I give it to you," Zhen Ingjun replied with a sullen expression. Yi Zichen instantly frowned. "Why do you have so much bullshit to say? Do you want to get beaten up?" No, I'll give it to..." With that, Zhen Ingjun took out the invitation. Chapter 503. I'm your third sister. The moment the Zhen brothers saw the newcomer, their faces lit up with joy. All this time, they had been waiting for this woman to appear. "Clan leader Su, you're finally here," Jinyobi said with a sullen face. That brat's attack just now was extremely vicious, and he had beaten him up so badly that he wished he were dead. However, he didn't dare to say anything because the other party had a ruthless person. Now that a ruthless person had appeared, he had to regain his face. "This guy doesn't put us fox demons in his eyes at all. I already said I'm from the fox demon clan, but look at how he beat me up." The two brothers were like children who had been beaten up and were snitching to their parents. The foxy woman in the blue dress descended from the sky. Seeing this scene, many of the other clansmen who came to attend the birthday party looked over. The main character had arrived. It seemed like the show was about to begin. "You said they beat you?" Lon Kun's long and narrow eyes narrowed. Her every movement revealed endless coldness, but it was extremely alluring. "Yes." The Zhen brothers lowered their heads. They didn't dare to look him in the eyes. He was afraid that as long as he saw her face, he could not help but have other thoughts in his heart. Humph! With a light snort, he tossed the invitation card in his hand to Jinyobi. "Take the invitation and quickly go in. Don't embarrass our Fox Yao clan." No one expected the blue-dressed woman to do such a thing. The Zhen brothers were startled, but they didn't dare to refute her. They picked up the invitation from the ground and hurried into the capital city of the nine-tailed fox clan. "You're Yi Zichen?" As she spoke, the woman in the blue dress walked over. Her eyes were filled with a piercingly cold aura. "Yes," Yi Zichen replied seriously. The woman glanced at him, then snorted. "If it weren't for my little sister's face, you would already be dead. Since it's your first time in the central continent, I'll spare you this once. If you do it again, you'll be severely punished." As soon as she finished speaking, she turned around and snorted. "Come in." She walked towards the city without even looking back. Yi Zichen glanced at her in confusion, then prepared to follow. But after taking a few steps, he realized that no one was with him. Only then did he notice that the people behind him were all stunned. "Pretty sister," Xiao Bai kept murmuring. "This woman is truly beautiful." So Emo couldn't help but comment, her eyes filled with infatuation. "That's Su Luer, the head of the nine-tailed fox clan. It's rumored that the nine-tailed fox clan of the Endless Beast region produces many beauties, especially the two clan heads, who are incomparably beautiful. Now that I've seen them in person, I can tell that they're truly a beauty of a generation. No wonder one of the four spiritual monkeys went to such an earth-shattering commotion just for her." Fatty Hell King couldn't help but shake his head in admiration. The reason why Yu Yang's every move was so alluring was because of Yu Yang. That was the innate seduction technique of the Fox Yaos. However, Su Luer wasn't master seduction technique, and the fatty wasn't weak, so he naturally wouldn't fall for it. However, from the looks of it, Xiao Bai and Zhe Mo must have fallen for the fox's charm. It was the same for the other guest chamberlains. However, Yi Zichen was rather curious as to why he wasn't affected. "Hurry up, I don't have much time to waste with you." Su Luer frowned, but when she saw that Yi Zichen was completely fine, she felt a bit strange. When he heard that, Yi Zichen hurriedly patted Little White and Zuomo's bodies. Only then did he wake them up and walk over. However, when she saw Zuomo by Yi Zichen's side, she snorted coolly. "This is the man my little sister likes." Entering the nine-tailed fox clan's capital city, he found that it was just like any other capital city. There were many shops on the outskirts of the city. In the center of the city, there was an ancient tree that towered into the clouds. Around this ancient tree was the habitat of the nine-tailed fox clan. Sulu led them into the city, then disappeared without a trace. Just as Ezichin was considering following the other clans, his eyes were suddenly blindfolded. "Guess who I am?" Her voice was a little rough, but even so, it couldn't hide the cuteness of her tone. "Kiki, stop fooling around." Ezichin raised his hand and grabbed her hands. When he turned around, he saw Xia Kiki pouting unhappily. "How did you figure out so quickly? Do you think I'm an idiot?" Ezichin rolled his eyes. However, at that moment, Zuemo squinted her eyes and walked over with hostility. She frowned and asked, "Who is she?" "Who is she?" Xia Kiki also spoke at the same time. "I'm asking you, who are you? Why do you have to cover his eyes with your hands?" He could only say that Zuemo was very domineering as usual. "I understand, you're my Zichenji's new concubine, right? You're still so arrogant after joining the sect. Let me tell you, if we're going by the order, I'm your third sister. Come, smile for your third sister." Similarly, this answer suited Xia Kiki very well. The moment the two women met, the smell of gunpowder filled the air. Ezichin shook his head with a sigh. He already expected this to happen. He raised his hand and patted Xia Kiki's shoulder. "Don't spout nonsense. She's different from you guys. She's one of the better partners I've had since I came to the Three Realms." "I see." Xia Kiki pouted and shrugged. In the end, she's not even a concubine, yet she's still so arrogant. Then she pouted and snorted. "Be more obedient in the future. Be more obedient in the future. Don't tell me that you haven't married yet. After you do, Susu and I are your seniors. If you don't listen, then I'll tell Zichenji to divorce you." Xia Kiki raised her head proudly, then hooked her arm around Yi Zichen's. "Zichenji, let's go and see Susu." Then she dragged Yi Zichen away. The dragon maids who came with Xia Kiki were completely shocked. Xia Kiki dragged Yi Zichen away. The dragon maidservant who came with Xia Kiki was completely shocked. From what she said, it seems like the Nine-Tailed Fox Clan's third young lady has something going on with this man. For what she said, it seems like the Nine-Tailed Fox Clan's third young lady has something going on with this man. They quickly shook their heads and forgot about their conversation. They were women, so they didn't dare to know too much about gossip. At the same time, Xia Kiki clenched her teeth in anger. She clenched her fist and walked in front of Lil White. Lil White knew that things were going to get bad, so he quickly looked up at the sky. "Oh wow, the sky of the Nine-Tailed Fox Clan is blue. Little fellow, don't pretend with me. Tell me the truth. Just how many women does Ezichin have by his side?" Zuemo squinted her eyes and frowned. Lil White raised a hand when he saw her expression. 5? Zuemo opened her eyes wide. Chapter 504. The true purpose of the birthday party, second sis. Isn't this just a normal birthday party? Why did you make me dress up for so long? Su Yin couldn't help but raise her eyebrows as she looked at the woman in the mirror. She desperately wanted to go out, because she knew that Yi Zichin had already arrived. "Don't worry, I already told Su Lu to go and pick up the person you want to see." The woman behind her smiled, then continuously caressed Su Yan's shoulder-length hair. The woman behind her smiled faintly, her fingers continuously stroking Su Yan's shoulder-length hair. She was none other than the second clan leader of the Nine-Tailed Fox Clan, Su Zhu. Su Yan, who was sitting on the chair, suddenly stood up and turned around. She looked at Su Zhu in shock and raised her eyebrows. Big sis went. "Why are you so shocked?" Su Zhu pressed Su Yan back onto the dressing table with a smile. "That boy should be the one you like, right?" Second sis. Su Yan's face suddenly blushed, and she did not say anything. However, at that very moment, another person walked into Su Yan's room. What was shocking was that the person who came and looked exactly the same as Su Zhu, and even wore the same clothes. "Lil Yin, why aren't you? Who are you?" Second sis. Su Yan also turned around. When she saw the woman in the room, she was also shocked. She subconsciously looked at the woman behind her and the woman at the door. 2 second sis. "Lil Yin, come over here," Su Zhu frowned, then spoke up. At the door, Su Zhu frowned and said, "Who are you? Why did you change into my appearance? Just what are your intentions?" Hurry up and reveal your true form. We, the Nine-Tailed Fox clan, are not to be trifled with. Lil Zhu Lil Sis, that's interesting. In the Endless Beast region, who else can change into someone else's appearance? And not even your Nine-Tailed Fox clan can tell? With that, the woman behind Su Yin turned into a tiger-toothed monkey who was wearing a golden armor and holding a peach in his hand. It's actually you. What did you come here for? Su Zhu's nervous expression also calmed down. From a certain perspective, the monkey in front of her could be considered as one of them. Of course I'm here for my third brother. This, Xiao Zhu, you should understand. The monkey chuckled. Su Zhu's face also suddenly flashed a strange smile. She walked up to Su Yin and raised her eyebrows. Don't worry. Lil Yin, go find Big Sister Luer. Leave this place to me. Remember, don't tell Big Sister Luer. This is our secret. All right. Su Yin nodded in a daze, then left the room. Su Zhu rubbed her hands excitedly with a smile on her face. As early as half a month ago, that monkey contacted me, but he said a bunch of inexplicable things. You're here again. Tell me, what kind of ruckus is he up to this time? Su Yin immediately sent Yi Zichen a message after leaving the room. Yi Zichen, who was walking around with Xia Kiki, felt his phone vibrate, so he quickly took it out, Su Yan's. After replying, he opened his social media app to look at her messages. At the same time, he sent his location over. Is Su coming over later? Yes. Yi Zichen nodded with a smile, then looked at the surrounding guests with a frown. Don't you feel like the atmosphere here is very strange? Where? Xia Kiki raised her eyebrows in confusion. The young men from the families you're looking at are all men around Su Yan's age. Isn't that normal? The clan wants the younger generation to show their faces. Xia Kiki raised her eyebrows and replied. However, Yi Zichen shook his head with a frown. Something's wrong. If it's really the younger generation, then why are there so few females? Look, there's practically no young girls here. They're all males. What's more, when the males meet each other, there's a hint of hostility. Really? Xia Kiki couldn't help but nod after taking a few glances. You probably don't know about this, but these people are all here to kidnap the bride. At that moment, a man with a peach in his hand appeared beside them. Bride kidnapping? Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows. Isn't this a birthday party? What does it have to do with bride kidnapping? This birthday party is actually a cover. Its true purpose is to find a husband for the Nine-Tailed Fox's third young mistress. Otherwise, why else would so many young talents come? There are plenty of people who came from other continents. As he spoke, the man had already finished a peach, and he took out another one from somewhere. Su actually didn't tell me. Xia Kiki opened her eyes wide in shock. Yi Zichen shook his head. It's very possible that she didn't even know about this sort of arrangement. It's very likely that she doesn't even know about this arrangement. But where did you get this information from? How hard is that? The man's eyes were filled with information as he raised his eyebrows. From the looks of it, you guys don't seem to know? Then why did you come? To kidnap the bride. Yi Zichen grinned. His strange grin made the man laugh in return. At that very moment, he noticed that Yi Zichen's fist was swinging towards him. The man quickly blocked Yi Zichen's fist with a frown. Bro, what are you doing? You should be my competitor since you came, right? One less competitor means that I have a higher chance of winning. Yi Zichen smiled playfully. Yi Zichen smiled playfully. The man's eyes suddenly lit up. Hey, great minds think alike. How about we work together? Work together? I didn't come for the Su family's third young mistress. I feel like we can work together. What do you mean? Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows. The man also moved closer to Yi Zichen's ear and muttered. You like her? Shoo. The man quickly covered Yi Zichen's mouth with a frown. What are you yelling for? It's going to be bad if someone hears you. Surprise, just pure surprise. Yi Zichen smiled coyly. It was truly because this guy's information was too shocking. Otherwise, he wouldn't have yelled so loudly. What do you want to do? Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows. There's definitely no problem on my side. It's mainly you. The man hooked his arm around Yi Zichen's neck and whispered a few words into his ear. Very quickly, Yi Zichen and Xia Kiki looked at each other, then revealed a faint evil smile. Ai, he, we'll do as you say. With that, Yi Zichen took out his phone and handed it over to Xia Kiki, who was confused. I'll leave the phone with you. I'll be back soon. Then, he raised his eyebrows towards the man. Do it now. Chapter 505. Water Curtain Cave of Flowers and Fruits Dong Dong. The people in the nine-tailed fox clan's kitchen inexplicably fell down. Suddenly, two people with red veils drilled into the room through the window. What if you knock them all down? Both of us won't be able to handle it. What are you panicking for? I have my own arrangements. Then quickly give me the medicine. The two of them cautiously ran to the stove, where they were making the food that the nine-tailed fox clan had invited to the banquet. Be quick with your hands and feet. Hurry up and pour all 20 packets in. This isn't poison, right? What poison? This is a laxative. Hurry up and pour it out. Where did this little thief come from? How dare he come in my nine-tailed fox clan to poison us? A playful smile suddenly appeared in the kitchen. The two people who were sprinkling laxatives froze, slowly turning around. When they saw the people in the kitchen, one of them let out a long sigh of relief, pulled down the veil, and ridiculed. Xiao Zhu, you scared me to death. The one who spoke was the man who had agreed to work with Yi Zichen earlier. Their plan was very simple. It was to poison Yi Zichen. When that happens, Yi Zichen and I will naturally win without a fight. More importantly, Yi Zichen was happy to see his competitors suddenly want to run to the toilet when they were showing off. I have a guilty conscience. Su Zhu pursed her lips, then arched her eyebrows at Yi Zichen. Who's that guy beside you? He has an ally? Of course, this little brother is a like-minded person like me. It's rare to find someone who shares the same ideals as you. Su Zhu curled her lips mockingly, then raised her eyebrows and said, Then you two can continue. I'm looking forward to your big show. Watch and see. The man waved towards her with a smile. Just as he and Yi Zichen were about to continue poisoning, Big Sister Lu, why are you here? The bodies of the two people who were in the midst of poisoning froze once more, while Yi Zichen looked towards his partner in confusion. What to do? Wouldn't he be caught? Meanwhile, outside the kitchen. Why is it so slow? It's almost time. Su Lu frowned. I just checked. It's more or less done, said Su Zhu with a nervous smile. She reached out to drag Su Lu away. Even if she couldn't drag her away, Su Zhu had to buy time for the people inside. No, I have to remind them again. Su Lu ignored Su Zhu's words and insisted on entering the kitchen. Su Zhu was extremely nervous, but when they arrived at the kitchen, the staff in the kitchen were still busy with their work. It seemed that they didn't know what had just happened. Su Zhu let out a long sigh of relief. As expected, nothing would go wrong with the monkey. She raised her eyebrows, then left the kitchen. Su Lu also frowned. Hurry up. It won't be good if we miss the auspicious hour. After giving her a few reminders, she turned around and found that Su Zhu had already left. When did Xiao Zhu leave? Kiki, where's Yi Zichen? When Su Yan, who had come looking for Yi Zichen, noticed that he wasn't there, her expression immediately turned somewhat dejected. Xia Kiki also frowned, then shrugged. I don't know either. He left with a really strange uncle just now. The two of them were very mysterious. I don't know what they went to do. Uncle? Su Yan also frowned. All right, I snuck over. Since Zichen isn't here, they'll head back first. I'll come find you after the birthday party. Achoo! The man holding onto Yi Zichen's shoulder suddenly sneezed. He rubbed his nose, then let go of Yi Zichen and said with lingering fear, What's wrong? Fortunately, Laozi left a spatial landing point. Otherwise, I would have definitely been caught by that woman. At that moment, Yi Zichen also looked up and looked around in confusion. If there were no surprises, then this was no longer the Nine-Tail, Fox Clan's capital. Suddenly, he saw a bunch of monkeys playing in the distance. All sorts of fruit trees could be seen everywhere. More importantly, there seemed to be a few packets of spicy gluten near the fruit platter. Then, Yi Zichen circled around in confusion a few more times. Water Curtain Cave. Oh my God, is this Mount Huagua? Hey, is this Mount Huagua? Yi Zichen blinked in confusion. The man was stunned for a moment, then nodded, yes. I'm telling you, it's a good thing Laozi was smart. Otherwise, both of us would have been caught by Su Lu. That's not the point. The point is, how did this man get me to Mount Huagua? Isn't this the sacred land? What Yi Zichen didn't expect was that just as he was thinking about the great sage, an armored man holding a bowl of instant noodles walked towards them. Who else could it be other than the great sage? OL3, didn't you take your son and OL4 to go on a blind date? You came back so quickly? How could it be that fast? I didn't even do anything yet. The man rolled his eyes in annoyance. I nearly got caught by her when I drugged her just now. I came back to take a breather before going over. So it's like that. Here, Big Bro's new noodles. Have a taste? With that, the great sage handed the bowl of instant noodles over. At the same time, he also noticed Yi Zichen, who was not far away. Who is this? The man opened his mouth and poured the entire bowl of noodles in. Then he smacked his lips, then put the bowl of instant noodles to the side and raised his eyebrows. He's a little ally we met on the way over. We're going to snatch the two Sioux family girls over. I'm going to snatch the older one. He's going to snatch the younger one. Interesting, old son, heard that they have a younger brother. How about I, old son, join in the fun as well? Hearing that, the great sage immediately became interested. At that moment, Yi Zichen was beyond speechless water curtain cave of Mount Huagua. This man is the great sage's third brother. Then according to the Baidu encyclopedia that I read in the modern realm, isn't this somewhat black-bellied monkey Yuan Hong the long-armed ape monkey? What made Yi Zichen even more speechless was that the great sage also wanted to join in the fun. Just don't go. You're already someone from the Buddhist family, yet you still want to steal women. Yi Zichen couldn't help but retort. Hearing that, the great sage was stunned for a moment, then blinked. Who are you? You actually dare to lecture I, old son? But it's weird. Why does this voice sound so familiar? Yuan Hong, who was Yi Zichen's ally, also couldn't help but raise his eyebrows. He understood his big bro's personality very well. That was a bad temper. Little bro, don't say random things. Otherwise, I won't be able to stop my big bro from bullying you. Yuan Hong couldn't help but raise his eyebrows. Yuan Hong couldn't help but raise his eyebrows. However, Yi Zichen merely chuckled. How could I not? Look who I am. Slap. Yi Zichen raised his hand and pulled the cloth off his face. When the great sage saw Yi Zichen. Chapter 506. The bridegroom, the great sage walked over in shock. He never expected Yi Zichen to appear at Mount Huagua. Didn't your third little bro explain it just now? I told him to bring him over. You know him? Yuan Hong was a bit confused by the great sage's words. This ally that he had casually made in the Nine-Tailed Fox clan was actually calling his big brother a brother. He's the sky's sovereign, nameless, I told you about. The great sage pointed at Yi Zichen and raised his eyebrows. Yuan Hong was instantly stunned. Ever since Yi Zichen entered the Heavenly Court chat group and got to know the great sage, Yuan Hong already had a good impression of this sky's sovereign. The reason for this good impression was that he was a fanatical fan of Waha as well. He had always wanted to meet that sky sovereign and wondered if he could get a discount when he bought Waha next time if he got on good terms with him. Sky sovereign, it's actually you. Yuan Hong's face was filled with a smile. Then he rubbed his hands with a smile. We're quite fated to actually meet each other at Su Lu Er's place. What's more, your relationship with Big Bro is really good. I have a presumptuous request, but I don't know if I should say it or not. Say it. Can Waha give me a discount? Yu Lao is selling it too expensive. Yi Zichen's expression immediately turned strange. He scratched his nose, then couldn't help but smile helplessly as he looked at Yuan Hong's expectant gaze. All right, I'll tell Yu Lao about it the next time you buy it from him. Then add me on WeChat. After adding him on WeChat, Yi Zichen looked at the surrounding fruit trees with an itch in his heart. The fruits on Mount Huagua were all spiritual fruits. Although they weren't as amazing as peaches of immortality, they had miraculous effects of prolonging one's lifespan and strengthening one's body. If I steal it back, but if the great sage was present, it definitely wouldn't be easy for him to make a move. Back then, Yi Zichen had to send him several bottles of Waha for just one peach. If he wanted to pick the fruit this time, then he would have to avoid him. Coincidentally, the great sage seemed to have thought of something after chatting for a bit, then left. Yuan Hong. Yi Zichen called out to Yuan Hong. The latter quickly ran over and raised his eyebrows. What's wrong? What's wrong, Celestial? Your fruit seemed pretty good. Yi Zichen's meaning was very clear. Yuan Hong understood what Yi Zichen meant, so he nodded with a smile, then hooked his finger at the fruit tree. All the fruits on the fruit trees flew over. Soon, the ground was covered with fruits from Mount Huagua. Sky Sovereign, hurry up and act. If my big brother comes back and finds out, we're done for. Understood. He took out his phone and scanned it. In just a moment, he had stored all the spiritual fruits into his phone's treasure chest. Yi Zichen couldn't help but smile when he saw the pile of spiritual fruits in the treasure chest. Finally, this trip to Mount Huagua was not in vain. At the same time, the great sage hurried back. However, he didn't notice that the fruit tree was already bare. Aren't you guys going to kidnap the bride? Is it too late to stay here? His sudden appearance startled Yi Zichen, causing his expression to turn a bit unnatural. On the other hand, Yuan Hong's expression did not change, and his heart did not jump. It's about time, big brother. I'll go back with the Celestial. Go, go. I'll wait for your good news at home. The great sage waved towards them with a smile. The great sage smiled and waved at them. After watching them leave Mount Huagua, he leisurely walked over to a nearby stone bench and sat down, then crooked his finger at the fruit tree. Nothing happened. Hey, that's strange. Yi Zichen leaped towards the fruit tree. When he saw the bare fruit tree, the great sage immediately bared his teeth and cursed. You really are my good bro. You didn't even leave a single one for me, old son. Never mind, if there's none, then I, old son, will go steal it from the heavenly court. Zoom. Yuan Hong and Yi Zichen, who left Mount Huagua, once again appeared in the Nine-Tailed Fox clan's kitchen. Their appearance shocked all the Nine-Tailed Fox clan members. Phew. Yuan Hong did not panic. He merely raised his hand and blew on it. Bang, bang, bang. All of the Nine-Tailed Fox clan members fell onto the ground like they did the first time they came. It seems like it has already started. We have to hurry. Thank you all for coming all the way to attend my little sis's birthday party. Su Zhu wore a light purple dress and smiled at the people below. Su Lu, and Su Zhu's roles in the Nine-Tailed Fox clan were very clear. Within the clan, Su Lu, was in charge of war. If anyone dared to challenge the Nine-Tailed Fox clan's position, then she would personally make them submit with force. As for Su Zhu, she was in charge of diplomacy. She was in charge of the various clans' alliances and any foreign affairs. For example, she was in charge of the birthday party. Lil Sis, at the same time, she waved towards Su Yan. Su Yan, who had been looking for Yi Zichen, walked over. However, even so, her gaze continued to search for Yi Zichen in the crowd. I believe this is the first time many of you have seen the third young lady of the Nine-Tailed Fox clan. Let me introduce her, Su Yan. Many of the young geniuses below subconsciously gulped. As expected of someone from the Nine-Tailed Fox clan, her looks, I believe everyone has already heard some news from some small channels. It's just like you said, Lil Sis will be 21 after this birthday. As her older sisters, we're going to find a good marriage for her. As for the method of selection, it's very simple. It's fine as long as Lil Sis likes it. Of course, if you can move me and Lu Urgia, then you'll get bonus points as well. Su Zhu looked at the crowd below with a smile. Su Yan, who stood beside her, was instantly stunned. Sis. Shoo. Su Zhu stealthily put a finger to her lips and stroked her hair. Then she continued, Of course, my little sister isn't the only one I'm marrying this time. Su Lu, is also in the running. Wow. Everyone present was dumbfounded, and soon after, an uproar broke out. Su Lu's beauty and strength were both the best of the best. Whoever could marry her would definitely become the envy of all living beings in the three realms. But before that, there was another problem. Who would dare to marry her? Back then, Yuan Hong had caused quite a ruckus in order to pursue Su Lu as one of the bosses of the Endless Beast region. Who would dare to fight over his woman? Lil Sis. Su Lu, who was sitting on the chair, was instantly unable to sit still. She stood up in shock. Sis, don't be like that. I was just saying it. Who would dare to pursue you aside from Yuan Hong? Let me put it this way. Su Lu, who was wearing a blue chiffon dress, smiled, then nodded. I understand. Actually, I'm just a show to liven things up, right? As soon as she finished speaking, an astonishing chill was released from her body. The cold aura didn't just freeze the bodies of the people below, it also froze their thoughts about Su Luer. Chapter 507. Everyone here is trash. Gulp. The moment the cold air appeared, the young geniuses of the various clans below didn't dare to raise their heads. All of them lowered their heads and trembled. This was Su Luer, one of the leaders of the Endless Beast region. Even though Su Zhu had said that Su Luer was also looking for a husband, if he didn't have sufficient strength, wouldn't he be seeking death? Su Yan was also panicking. She stared at Su Zhu with wide eyes. Her elder sister knew that she had a sweetheart. Second sister. Su Yan stealthily tugged at the corner of Su Zhu's shirt. Su Zhu had been waiting for Yuan Hong to make a big scene, but he still hadn't shown up. Second sister. Seeing that Su Zhu didn't say anything, Su Yan forcefully tugged on her again. When she saw Su Yan's expression, she knew exactly what she wanted to say. She raised her eyebrows and said, "Don't be nervous. This has nothing to do with you." But, do you still not believe what second sister said? Su Zhu pursed her lips and smiled. At the same time, Su Luer looked down coldly at the crowd below. She was so scared she couldn't move. You still want to marry me? At this moment, a young man stood up shakily. When Su Luer saw it, she frowned. When a young man saw it, she almost fell to the ground in fright. Su? Clan leader Su, I want to hire Su Yan. No, snorted Su Luer. Why not? I'm not hiring you. You should at least let me talk to Su Yan. The youth frowned. His thoughts were very simple. Su Yan's looks were also top-notch, and if he could marry her, he would also be able to form connections with a nine-tailed fox clan. Are you questioning me? Su Luer narrowed her eyes. The young man didn't even dare to breathe loudly. He hurriedly sat down, trembling. Su Luer couldn't help but sneer. With just this, you still want to marry my Su family? A bunch of cowards. Isn't clan leader Su going a little overboard? A young man suddenly stood up and said, Your nine-tailed fox clan is indeed one of the strongest clans in the central continent, but don't you think it's a little too much to slander us other clans? I don't think it's too much at all. At this moment, a mocking sneer suddenly rang out in the sky. Everyone looked up and saw Yi Zichen descend from the sky. He landed in an extremely handsome posture, then stood up and pointed at the clansmen below with a chuckle. You're the best. I'm not targeting anyone. I just want to say that everyone here is trash. Brother Zichen, Xia Kiki, who was sitting below, suddenly laughed. Xiaobai couldn't help but speak up when he saw this. My boss is domineering. You're just trying to impress the crowd. Mo bit her lips. If she wasn't mistaken, that Su Yan should be the Susu that Xia Kiki was talking about. So it's that brat. Su Luer couldn't help but frown, but she didn't seem to dislike his words too much. In her world, it was just as Yi Zichen thought. Everyone present was trash. Yi Zichen. Su Yan's eyes lit up, and a meaningful smile flashed across Su Zhu's face. This young man seems to be the one I saw in the kitchen. Since he's here, then Yuan Hong should be here soon. Hearing Su Yan's exclamation, Yi Zichen turned around and smiled. I can't let anyone else take my woman away. With that, she snorted at the enraged clansmen below. You have a temper. If you don't like it, then come up. Let me tell you whether or not you're trash. With that, she snorted at the enraged clansmen below. You have a temper. If you don't like it, then come up. Let me tell you whether or not you're trash. Let me see if your martial arts are as strong as you say. A blue-robed young man suddenly appeared below. However, before he could even take a few steps, a nauseating stench spread through the guest seats. The young man's expression also drastically changed as he held his stomach and ran toward an empty place. What are you doing? Why did you run away halfway? Trash is trash. Yi Zichen smiled meaningfully. Actually, he knew very well that the laxative he and Yuan Hong used was probably effective. Brat, don't get too cocky. Another guest stood up. Another person among the guests stood up, but just like the blue-robed young man, He didn't take more than a few steps before he ran away, clutching his stomach. All of a sudden, all of the guests were stunned. Just what kind of demonic technique did this brat use? Everyone who challenged him got sh*t. Many people were shocked. What they didn't know was ugh, ugh, ugh. As if a chain reaction had occurred, all of the guests ran away while holding their stomachs. Yi Zichen stood on the stage and shook his head with a snicker. Is there a need to be so scared? How embarrassing. Never mind. This young lord isn't going to bully you guys. If you're scared of me, then I'll give you guys a chance. I'll challenge all of you by myself. However, none of the guests were able to hear what he said. All of them ran towards the Nine-Tail Fox Clan's toilets in a hurry. What's wrong with them? Lil White couldn't help but raise his eyebrows. However, at that moment, Jail King also opened his eyes wide. F***, someone drugged the food. With that, he pulled up his pants and followed the army of people who had sh*t to the toilet. Yi Zichen shrugged helplessly and twitched his mouth when he saw that the venue, which was filled with people, instantly become quiet. It really is lonely being an expert. Then, he walked in front of Su Yin and held her hand with a chuckle. I want to apply for a job. I want to apply. What do you think? I'm willing, Su Yin smiled sweetly. Su Zhu covered her mouth to stifle her laughter. It was far too rare for everyone to have sh*t, especially since Su Lu-er's threshold for laughter was rather low. However, Su Lu-er merely looked down coldly, then squinted her eyes towards Yi Zichen. Aren't your actions too despicable? Big sis, don't say random things. How is my actions despicable? Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows as if he didn't know anything. I challenged all of them by myself, but they didn't dare to accept my challenge. What else could I do? They can only blame my domineering aura for scaring them to sh*t. Su Lu-er smiled indifferently, then hooked her finger towards the guests' dishes. A stack of fragrant and beautiful dishes flew over. She lifted the plate to her nose and sniffed it. Then, she flew the plate back to its original position. No problem at all. Hearing that, Yi Zichen laughed out loud in his heart. The medicine Yuan Hong gave him was colorless and odorless. He wouldn't be able to feel it even if he ate it, let alone smell it. However, at that very moment, a person with a single strand of hair on his head, who was wearing a hat, sat up and continuously fanned the odor on the tip of his nose. F***, what's this stench? Just as he was mumbling to himself, his gaze suddenly landed on Su Yin. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a portrait. Zoom, zoom, zoom. He quickly ran up to the front of the stage and leaped onto Su Yin's ankle. Chapter 508. I protect the Fox Yao's mom. Mom. Both Yi Zichen and Su Yin were completely shocked. Yi Zichen immediately kicked the young man, who was crying and calling Su Yin mom, on the ground, away from him. Are you sick? I don't have such an old son, Su Yin blushed. At that moment, the young man also looked up, and when he saw Yi Zichen, Boss Yi, Go Yuzhan. Yi Zichen was also shocked, but he didn't even bother with pleasantries. He raised his hand and smacked Go Yuzhan's head. What's wrong with you, brat? Look carefully. This is your sister-in-law, not your mom. Not her. Go Yuzhan was stunned, then took out a portrait from his pocket. Look, is the person in the portrait her or not? Yi Zichen received the portrait and looked at it carefully. The woman in the portrait did look a bit similar to Su Yin, but she also looked a bit similar to Su Zhu and Su Lu. Let me see. Su Zhu also reached out her hand. Su Zhu also reached out her hand. Yi Zichen handed the portrait to her, and before long, she said, Isn't this Lu Erjia? Who's Lu Erjia? Go Yuzhan's Ahog shook. Su Zhu pointed at Su Lu-er, who had a confused look on her face. Mom. Without another word, Go Yuzhan rushed to Su Lu-er's side, hugged her ankle, and wept bitterly. Mom, you can't be so heartless as to abandon us, father and son. My father is infatuated with you. How can you abandon us just like that? While wiping his tears, he opened his palm from time to time. The densely packed handwriting on his palm. It's actually a cheat sheet. Mom, my dad and I have been through so much these past few years. People say that the cowherd and the weaver girl can see each other once a year, but my dad hasn't seen you for 10-odd years. Look, I've already grown up from a child waiting to be fed. How long do you think it's been since we've seen each other? Let go. Sulur shook her leg, but Go Yuzhan hugged her tightly as if he didn't feel anything. I'm not letting go. Are you letting go or not? Sulur instantly released a frightening chill, then sneered. Yuan Hong, it should be you, right? If you don't want to stay in the ice sculpture for a few years, then hurry up and take this child away. Whoosh. Before anyone could react, Yuan Hong appeared in front of everyone with an awkward expression. He was still holding Go Yuzhan in his hand. Pa Yuan Hong frowned and cursed as he slapped Go Yuzhan's head. What the hell are you doing? It was a good battle plan, but you grabbed the wrong person. Why are you blaming me? It's not like you don't know that I've always been short-sighted. Go Yuzhan glared at him and cursed. Also, your drawing skills are terrible. If your drawing was any more vivid, I wouldn't have mistaken you for someone else. You still dare to talk back to me? Yuan Hong raised his hand to slap him, but Su Luer stopped him. Yuan Hong, don't be in such a hurry to push the blame. Shouldn't you give me a reasonable explanation? As she spoke, Su Zhu stealthily took small steps to escape. However, an ice wall instantly blocked her way. Lil Zhu, where do you think you're going? Hee hee, I'm feeling a bit unwell too. I want to go to the bathroom. Su Zhu giggled foolishly. Su Zhu giggled foolishly. Su Luer nodded noncommittally. I see, but it's best if you don't go. I don't think there'd be a place for you to go. How about this? Boom! An ice house instantly rose from the ground. Su Zhu's face paled when she saw it. This was the house Su Luer had used to lock her up in when she was disobedient when she was younger. If you're not feeling well, then go to the bathroom. No one can see you. Sis. Su Zhu swung Su Luer's arm coquettishly and pouted. I know I was wrong. I just thought it was fun. But who knew that the grand scene Yuan Hong spoke of would be so low class? Fun? If it was fun, then I sold it. Su Luer wrinkled her nose, then knocked Su Zhu's head. You should have told me in advance. I've always felt a strange aura appear in our nine-tailed fox clan from time to time. I thought it was bad people trying to harm us. From time to time, Yuan Hong frowned. Su Luer, when did you feel that aura? Wasn't it you? Su Luer raised her eyebrows. It's always been there. I felt it from the moment the sky lit up until just now. Yi Zichen and Yuan Hong looked at each other. We were at Mount Huagua just now. Su Luer, that aura isn't mine. Yuan Hong raised his eyebrows. Yuan Hong raised his eyebrows and said, just now, Brother Yi and I were at Mount Huagua. We stayed at Mount Huagua for at least an hour. Then, Su Luer was also stunned. That's not right. I've been able to feel that strange aura the entire time. At that moment, an explosion suddenly sounded out from behind the nine-tailed fox clan. Crap! Yuan Hong immediately rushed out, while Yi Zichen and Su Luer followed behind him. Xia Kiki, who was sitting in the guest seats, raised her eyebrows, then turned to Lil White and company. Let's go and take a look together. A huge spatial crack continuously tore through the area behind the nine-tailed fox clan. Monsters and trolls covered in slime kept crawling out of the cracks. Male fox yows with over 500 years of cultivation faced the enemy. The commander of the fox yows guards gave out orders one after another. As for the women and children with low cultivation, they all retreated under their protection. As expected of a formation grandmaster, he can actually open the gate to the three realms. A dark-skinned man sat above the crack with an excited smile. A dark-skinned man sat above the crack. The corner of his mouth was filled with an excited smile. The white-robed man beside him smiled in a non-committal manner as he spoke. Ian, there's no need to be so humble. You're truly the number one in formations in the demon realm. The title of Grandmaster will be yours sooner or later. The dark-skinned man smiled, then pointed at the abyssals on the ground. Ian, there's no need to be so humble. The more you eat, the happier the people up there will be. The dark-skinned man smiled, then pointed at the abyssals on the ground. Work harder. The more you eat, the happier the people up there will be. Whoosh. At that moment, the abyssals that were surging forward were all frozen into ice sculptures. Then, a sky full of stick shadows fell from the sky, shattering the ice sculptures. The clan head is here. Everyone retreat. The commander of the guards immediately gave the signal to retreat. The Nine-Tailed Fox clan had such a tradition. When Su Luer makes her move, everyone retreat. The Fox Yaos covered each other as they left the battlefield. The person sitting above the spatial crack squinted his eyes and wanted to suppress all of the Fox Yaos. "You still dare to be impudent with me here?" He raised his eyebrows and swung his fist towards the man without any hesitation. The moment the two came into contact, the man was sent flying several hundred meters away, then fell heavily onto the ground. Su Luer narrowed her eyes and snorted, emanating a frightening chill. Chapter 509. Step forward and die. The retreating Fox Yaos all smiled when they heard the loud sound. In their hearts, their clan head would never lose. Su Luer had never disappointed her clansmen. She looked at the man, who had fallen to the ground and kicked up a cloud of dust, while the coldness between her fingers grew stronger. "I bumped into an expert." The man twisted his neck and stood up. From the looks of it, he was clearly unharmed. With a smile, he returned to the crack and looked straight ahead. "Don't test my patience. The Fox Yaos are not a place you can come to. F***CK off." Su Luer looked forward indifferently, while the coldness in the surroundings grew even heavier. The dark-skinned man smiled faintly and nodded at the person beside him. In an instant, an earth-shattering purple mist pervaded the air from the spatial rift. The fog continued to spread in all directions. The moment the fox demons came into contact with the fog, they fell to the ground one after another. "Damn it!" Su Luer bit her lip and cursed inwardly. Then she raised her hand and condensed the surrounding air into beautiful ice crystals. However, the mist spread far too quickly. Even with her speed, she couldn't keep up with the speed at which the mist spread. Yi Zichen, who was chasing after her, felt his heart skip a beat when he saw the lingering purple mist, as well as the Fox Yaos that continuously fell to the ground. People of the demon realm. But no matter what, the Fox Yaos should have some Yao spiritual energy, yet they all fell to the mist. It seems like the poison of the mist has increased. Engulf the mountains and rivers. Go Yuzhan squinted his eyes and roared at the same time, causing all of the purple mist in the air to enter his mouth. Plop! The mist in front of him did indeed disappear. Go Yuzhan's expression also changed as he fell to the ground. "Go Yuzhan." Yi Zichen was shocked. "Don't mind me. My situation isn't that bad." Go Yuzhan covered his mouth with his right hand and raised his eyebrows. Go Yuzhan covered his mouth with his right hand and raised his eyebrows. "They're the people from that time, right? Boss, you should hurry over." Yi Zichen nodded heavily, then turned towards Su Zhu with a frown. "This purple mist is the demon realm's nether demonic energy. This purple mist is the demon realm's nether demonic chi. If you're weak and absorb too much nether demonic chi, you'll become an abyssal. Hurry up and bring the stronger members of your clan to cover the weaker one's retreat. At the very least, don't let this nether demonic chi spread out." As soon as he finished speaking, he licked his lips and dashed towards the back of the mountain. Damn it, damn it. She knew very well that as long as she destroyed the spatial crack, she would be able to stop the demonic energy from entering. However, there seemed to be a spiritual array protecting the spatial crack. Even if she and Yuan Hong were to attack at the same time, they would not be able to shake him in the slightest. You should know that she and Yuan Hong were already considered the pinnacle of the Endless Beast region. If they couldn't destroy the spiritual array, even with their combined strength, then the person who set up the array must be at least at the Grandmaster level. The black man who was full of trash talking didn't look like it, so it was obviously the cloaked man next to him. "You must be anxious." The black man's face was filled with mockery. Little did he know that at this moment, Su-un, a thunderous roar sounded out from the purple, mist-filled back mountain. In an instant, a white figure shot towards the spatial crack like a bolt of lightning. The cloaked man looked up with a slightly moved expression in his eyes. But very quickly, his expression was replaced by a sneer, and he took off the hat on his head. "You're actually here as well. Long time no see." Su Iyun's hair was completely silver after he took off his hat. His face which was originally only in his early 20s, seemed to have aged a bit, while wrinkles crawled up his forehead. When he saw this, Yi Zichen was briefly stunned, but his lips quickly curved into a cold smile. Xin Yuan. Yi Zichen raised his right hand, causing Xin Yuan's sword, which had been nurturing in his arm, to fly out and land in his hand with a rainbow glow. Break! Yi Zichen grabbed the hilt with both hands and slashed downwards. How could he not know that there would be a spiritual array in front of him after fighting with Su Yiyun so many times? Crack! The spiritual array, which was invisible to the naked eye, let out a faint shattering sound. Yi Zichen's ears twitched, then got into a horse stance and slashed horizontally with Xin Yuan's sword. Break! Bang! The spiritual array turned into sparkling light and scattered into the air. Both the black man in front and Su Lu and Yuan Hong raised their eyebrows. The spiritual array broke. Only Su Yun had a gratified smile on his face. He nodded and chuckled. You've grown. It's all thanks to you, Yi Zichen said coldly, while the Xin Yuan sword in his hand shone with a golden light dye. A blinding light shot out from his sword. Su Yun merely raised his hand and flicked the sword light. Crack! The sword light shattered. In the end, you're still too weak. Su Yun narrowed his eyes and smiled calmly as he looked ahead. I'll let you live in hatred and resentment, but it seems like it's not that effective. Creak! Hearing that, Yi Zichen clenched his fist tightly. He looked up and stared at Su Yun's slightly aged face. Tell me, where are you hiding Xiao Yumei? Didn't she die? Didn't you see it? Su Yun sneered. Tell me the truth. Where is Xiao Yumei? Yi Zichen roared like a madman. Xin Yuan Xiang also used that moment to absorb all of his anger, while the Xin Yuan sword in her hand gradually radiated a terrifying aura. How did you know? Su Yun's expression also turned cold. Then, a playful smile surfaced in his eyes. She's in my palace right now. I don't say this woman is really not bad. Before Su Yun finished, Yi Zichen already swung his sword towards him. Su Yun, who dodged backwards as fast as he could, saw a bloody wound appear on his abdomen. He raised his hand to stop the bleeding, then raised his eyebrows and snorted. You're angry. Die. Yi Zichen raised Xin Yuan's sword and slashed towards Su Yun. However, how could Su Yun, who was already on guard, allow himself to be injured? Ding! A spiritual array instantly enveloped him. He squinted his eyes and sneered. He squinted his eyes and snickered. You can't do anything to me. Yi Zi, you're too weak. Crack! However, at that very moment, the spiritual formation that enveloped Su Yun suddenly shattered. When he returned to his senses, he saw the ice crystals on the ground. Then, he saw a person appear beside Yi Zichen. I said it before, I'm protecting the Fox Yaos. Are you treating me like I'm nothing by acting so presumptuously in my territory? Bang, bang, bang. At the same time, countless rod shadows descended from the sky. Su Yun's eyes widened, and he quickly retreated several tens of meters. The rod shadows landed on the ground. Deep ravines appeared on the ground. At that moment, Yuan Hong also changed into his golden armor and roared angrily. Chapter 510. Calamity Digging. So big. Yi Zichen looked up at Yuan Hong, who had transformed into his Dharma body. Then, he walked up to Yuan Hong and compared his feet. It was the same height as Yuan Hong's feet. Don't move. He can't see a little ant like you under his feet after transforming into his Dharma body. My lil sis will be heartbroken if he squashes you into a meat patty. Su Lu grabbed Yi Zichen's collar and jumped back, causing Yi Zichen to raise his eyebrows. Who are you calling an ant? Say it again if you dare. So what if I say it 100 times? Are you going to attack me? Don't forget, I'm a woman, and a woman who can fight. More importantly, I'm your sister-in-law. Hearing that, Yi Zichen instantly gave up. Speechless, Su Lu grabbed Yi Zichen and landed in a safe position, then looked up. I'll leave it to you. Leave it to me. If I help you deal with this, can you try going out with me? Never mind, but I can give you a chance to go on a date with me, Su Lu smiled. Deal, Yuan Hong replied in a muffled voice, but he was overjoyed in his heart. The price of activating his Dharma body was not small, but it was worth it to be able to go on a date with Su Luer. Not long later, he stopped smiling. This was the best time to show off his manly charm. I won't get another chance like this again if I miss it. Spiritual Formation Master. Let me see just how strong a Formation Grandmaster like you is. The rod in Su Yun's hand whistled through the air. At that moment, Su Yun no longer had a relaxed expression on his face. Then, he set his gaze upon Yi Zichen. Actually, I was just joking with you just now. I don't want to touch that woman, Xiao Yumei. But her situation in the demon race isn't that good. Yi Zichen, if you can, then come and take her back. A spatial crack appeared in front of him. The moment the rod appeared, his body also entered the crack. Su Yun, take me with you. The dark-skinned man quickly ran towards the crack. However, Su Yun ignored him and snorted. Grandpa isn't going to play with you guys anymore. Whoosh! The crack dissipated, and the rod's shadow fell to the ground. The dark-skinned man dodged in a panic, but when he reached the rift Su Yun had created, he could only watch as it disappeared before his eyes. Su Yun, the man roared with bloodshot eyes. Yuan Hong, who stood proudly between the heavens and the earth, snorted. It was as if he was very displeased that Yi Futian had let Su Yun escape. But at least there was one left. Stop shouting. Can't you tell that he abandoned you on purpose? Su Luer snickered from behind. The man's eyes were bloodshot as he bit down hard on his lips, causing purple blood to flow out. Let's die together. As soon as he finished speaking, his body gradually swelled up. Yuan Hong, retreat. He wants to self-destruct. Su Luer shouted anxiously. Yuan Hong, who stood in the air, naturally knew what she was thinking. He withdrew his avatar as quickly as he could, but the dark-skinned man was still laughing wantonly. Let's die together. His veins bulged and his skin burst. Damn it, it's too late. Seeing that it was already too late for him to dodge, Yuan Hong gritted his teeth. Screw it. He rushed in front of Su Luer as quickly as he could and used his body to block her. At the very least, even if he self-destructed, he couldn't let Su Luer suffer any harm. But half a minute passed, but he still didn't explode. He slowly turned around and saw an old man with a sage-like demeanor standing beside the dark-skinned man. There was also a young man with a haughty look on his face. The immortal region wants to take this person away. Are the master of the Fox Yaos and Lord Spirit Monkey willing? The old man gently stroked his beard and smiled. Yuan Hong also frowned and retracted his avatar. Su Luer also frowned and said, You're right. Su Luer also frowned. Someone from the immortal region? Yes. The elder nodded. The immortal region has always been investigating the demon realm. We want to take this demon back and slowly interrogate him. Geezer, you sure know how to take advantage of others. Yuan Hong raised his eyebrows and snorted. Lousy fought so hard for half a day, and you want to take him away just like that? Commander Yuan, you must be joking. You didn't do much, but the young man behind you is fighting the demon's formation master. The elder snorted with a smile. The elder continued to smile nonchalantly, then pointed towards Yi Zichen's position. He's still my bro. It's the same no matter who fights him. Yuan Hong replied calmly. However, right at this moment, a pile of spiritual objects suddenly appeared on the grassland at the back of the mountain. This is the compensation for Commander Yuan activating his avatar. I wonder if this will allow us to bring him back. Ahem. Yuan Hong was a bit tempted when he saw that. However, he didn't know how to decide, so he rubbed his hands and looked towards Yi Zichen and Su Luer. What do you guys think? I'm not interested in demons. Since the immortal region wants to take him away, then let them, Su Luer replied coldly. I have no objections. Yi Zichen also said plainly. Jinx. The moment Yi Zichen spoke up, the cocky young man with the elder suddenly twitched his mouth and snorted. Yi Zichen's gaze instantly darkened. The elder also raised his hand and smacked the young man's head. Nonsense. Go apologize to him. I don't know. The young man stood stubbornly on the spot and snorted. Am I wrong? He is a jinx. If it wasn't for him, shut up. I'll lock you up for half a year when we get back. The elder raised his eyebrows angrily. then put on an apologetic smile. My disciple is rather young, so he doesn't really know how to speak. Please forgive me. This old man will take this demon back. See you later. With a leap, the elder and the cocky young man disappeared from the world. Yuan Hong frowned as he looked towards where they left, then scolded coldly. That grandson was talking about my bro, just now? F***, he ran fast. Otherwise, Lousy really would have smacked him. You? Forget it. Su Luer snorted in disdain. Can't you feel that elder's strength? If your big brother came, he might be able to fight. Yuan Hong scratched his head with a coy smile. That's what Su Luer said. If anyone else dared to say that about me, I would have smacked them with a stick already. But it's strange. Didn't the demon realm perish a long time ago? Why are there still demons? What's more, the spatial gate was open to my fox yows. It seems like I need to inspect the seals around the fox yows again. Then let's go on a date. Let's make it a date to reinforce the fox yow seals with me. Is there a problem? Su Luer raised her eyebrows indifferently. Naturally, Yuan Hong wasn't willing to do this. Of the dates he was thinking of, it would definitely be a bit romantic. However, he didn't dare to say it. No problem, no problem. Yuan Hong smiled apologetically. Only then did Su Luer nod in satisfaction. However, Yi Zichen stood on the spot with a flicker in his eyes. Jinx. Chapter 511. Su Yun and Gu Lia's spatial rift appeared in the space, filled with nether demonic energy. Su Yun's face was filled with exhaustion as he emerged from the spatial rift. Lord Su, you've returned. The patrol captain rushed over with a flattering smile. The captain of the squad that was patrolling below rushed over with a flattering smile. His humanoid form, dark skin, and black eyes that were slightly empty without the scare swore that he was a pure demon. Su Ian nodded indifferently. The patrol captain subconsciously glanced behind him. Didn't Lord Barrow leave with you? Why didn't I see him return with you? Don't ask what you shouldn't ask. Su Iyun's expression froze. The captain of the patrol team hurriedly gulped and smiled sheepishly. Yes, I won't ask. Lord Black Dragon is waiting for you in the main hall. Do you need me to? No need. Su Ian coldly cut off the patrol captain's words, then walked forward with an icy gaze. When the guards could no longer see his back, one of them curled his lips and snorted. Isn't he just a human? What are you pretending for? Slap. The guard captain raised his hand and patted his subordinate's head. Soon after, he placed his finger by his mouth and spoke cautiously. Don't talk nonsense. Lord Su isn't an ordinary person. I know. He's just a formation grandmaster. But he's too arrogant. I just don't like him, the guard muttered unhappily. Do you think you're the only one who doesn't like him? There are plenty of people who don't like him, but who would dare to touch him? Don't think too much. Let's just patrol properly. That kind of high and mighty existence isn't someone we can chat with. As soon as he finished speaking, the leader of the patrol team walked forward on his own. The dark palace was filled with coldness. The moment Su Yun stepped into the main hall, all the bonfires lit up, illuminating the pitch-black palace. Lord Black Dragon, I've come to report. You're back so quickly, I thought I'd have to wait a bit longer. In the originally empty palace, a man wearing a black robe suddenly appeared on the throne high above. The man glanced at Su Yun's side, then raised his eyebrows. Why didn't Barrow return? Barrow died in battle. Su Yun replied indifferently. Die in battle? Ba Luo is one of the commanders of the Whirling Gate, and his strength is comparable to the 12 demon sovereigns. He actually died in battle? The man on the seat narrowed his eyes and said, Master Su, shouldn't you give me a reasonable explanation? Forcefully opening a spatial landing point has already exhausted me. Unfortunately, there are a few pinnacle powerhouses at the landing point. I couldn't defeat them, so I retreated. Barrow died in battle to protect me. As he spoke, he intentionally revealed the wound on his chest. The Black Dragon King on the throne glanced at the wound, raised his eyebrows, and nodded. Yes, in that case, Barrow can be considered to have made an outstanding contribution to our demon realm's stepping foot into the three realms. I will personally appease Barrow's clansmen later on. This subordinate thanks Lord Black Dragon on Barrow's behalf, said Su Yun. cupping his hands in obeisance. According to this probe, the three realms are not like the modern realm. Forcefully opening the portal this time caused too much damage to me. I'm afraid I won't be able to open another portal in the near future. It's okay. Master Su's health is more important. The Black Dragon King smiled and waved his hand. At the same time, a pile of spiritual items appeared in front of Suiyun. Recently, this king has noticed that Master Su's vitality has been rapidly drained. It is likely that he has put in a lot of effort for the new array formation. Here are some spirit items to express my sincerity. Thank you for your concern, Black Dragon King. Suiyun's expression didn't change as he picked up the spiritual items, then said, I'm a bit tired. I'll take my leave first. Take care, Master Su. The Black Dragon King chuckled. As he left the palace, Suiyun looked even more exhausted. Just as he was about to leave, he heard a soft, feminine laugh. Are you finally going to show your true colors? When he turned around, he saw Guli looking at him mockingly with a strand of green foxtail grass in his mouth. I don't know what you're talking about. Don't pretend. Do you think you can hide it perfectly? Guli stretched lazily. You definitely didn't surrender sincerely. I can tell from your actions when you came to the demon realm. Oh, Suiyun arched an eyebrow. After coming to the devil world, you did make a lot of contributions to the devil world, but there was no result. Also, it's not like you don't know about the grudge between the demon world and the Yellow Emperor. You could have killed the Yellow Emperor or brought him back to the demon realm, but you didn't. Even though you act like a bad guy, you're actually training him, right? That's just your conjecture. Suiyun smiled indifferently, then turned around to leave. However, Guli leaped in front of him. Even if these are all my conjectures, what do you say about that woman? A few days ago, I happened to see Zichen's woman at your temporary residence, but there weren't any demon guards or attendants there. You came and went quite frequently as well. How you explain that? You spied on me. Guli quickly took a step back with a smile. Master Su, please calm down. I don't dare to spy on you. I merely saw it by chance. What are you trying to say? Lord Su, don't be nervous. Actually, I just wanted to warn you. Do you think that Lord Black Dragon wouldn't notice if a small fry like me noticed it? Don't shoot yourself in the foot. If Lord Black Dragon executes you, I will feel very regretful. No matter what, we both came from the modern realm. Guli's smile turned even more sinister. Suiyun merely smiled in response. There's no need for you to worry about that. You don't have to worry about that. But since you're so kind to remind me, I'd like to remind you of something. Lord Su, please go ahead. Guli smiled as if he was all ears. It's not bad to increase your strength through absorbing the demonic energy of abyssals, but it will also make your spiritual energy impure. What's more, absorbing the demonic energy of abyssals is forbidden within the demon realm. Be careful. Don't give yourself away. Hearing that, Guli's expression clearly turned ugly. However, he nodded calmly and laughed in self-mockery. It seems like Lord Su is still better. Likewise, who doesn't have some sort of backup plan if they want to survive in this sort of place? Suiyun smiled. I'm a bit tired. I wonder if Lord Gu can let me pass? Please. Guli immediately stepped aside. Suiyun snorted coldly and left without another word. Suiyun, I do want to see how much longer you can hide. Chapter 512. Evil fate. As Yi Zichen watched the two people from the immortal region leave, he muttered to himself about the cocky young man's words. Jinx. That grandson actually said I'm a jinx. Yi Zichen had to admit, no matter where he went, there would be some sort of problem. He was just like Detective Conan, where two people would die wherever he went. However, the demons opening a gate in the three realms wasn't something he could control. It could only be said that it was just a coincidence that he ran into the demons' attacks. What's more, wasn't he trying to think of a way to deal with it? This little bastard. Yi Zichen rolled his eyes in annoyance. However, what was more important was what Suiyun had said. Xiao Yumei was in the demon realm. Lu Erjie, are you guys all right? Suzhu hurried over with the Fox Yao's experts. How could there be any problems with you, my brother-in-law here? Yuan Hong laughed. Su Lu rolled her eyes and scolded. If you keep spouting nonsense, then there's no need for us to meet again. Look at my shitty mouth, Yuan Hong chuckled. Yuan Hong slapped himself in the face. Su Luer snorted and ignored him. She walked over to her clansmen and gave them instructions. At the same time, Yi Zichen also walked over to Su Yan's side. That person just now was my older brother, right? You saw him. Yi Zichen, who didn't want to mention it, was momentarily stunned. Su Yan nodded, then smiled. But even now, I still don't believe that he's a bad person. Yi Zichen's heart ached when he heard that. Of course, he didn't want to believe that Su Yiyun was on the demon's side, but the current situation didn't allow them to be careless at all. Although he was unwilling, he still spoke with a stern expression. You better not think like that. It's best if you don't think that way. If we ever meet Su Yiyun again, he'll be our enemy. Don't be merciful then. He is no longer the same person as before. Su Yan's body stiffened, then she smiled wryly. I understand. At that very moment, the people attending the birthday party were the elites of the various clans of the Beast region. Even though Yi Zichen and Yuan Hong had drugged them quite a bit, they were able to recover after a few trips to the washroom due to their Yao spiritual energy. After that, the first thing they thought of was they wanted to teach the kid who provoked them a lesson. That kid is here. Brothers, get your weapons. The elites of all races shouted and ran forward. Because of the timely arrival of the demon clan in the back mountain of the Fox Demon, they, who had been squatting in the toilet, did not know that there had been a big battle here before. But when they got closer, they saw the bottomless ravines on the ground, as well as the Fox Yao clan's peak combat power gathered there. What's the situation? One of the prodigies said. The rest of the people also looked ahead with dumbfounded expressions. Who cares what's going on? I found that bastard. One of the more sharp-eyed youths noticed Yi Zichen, who was standing beside Su Yan. His right arm suddenly turned into a bear paw and slapped towards Yi Zichen. Gotcha! Right at that moment, the bare-armed young man turned into an ice sculpture and fell to the ground. Su Lu also stepped forward and scolded him coldly. Are you trying to cause trouble in my Fox Demon clan? Gulp. The prodigies all took a step back as they looked at the ice sculpture on the ground. Very quickly, someone in the crowd shouted, Run, causing the elites of the various races to run away like startled deer. No need to thank me. It's all because of Lil Sis. But we, the Fox Yao, do not welcome you. Please leave. Yi Zichen was momentarily stunned by his indifferent tone, while Su Yan also looked up in shock. Sis, Lil Sis, it's time to take a medicinal bath. Su Lu grabbed Su Yan's arm and turned around. However, she glanced at the Xin Yuan sword in Yi Zichen's hand out of the corner of her eyes. Yi Zichen's face was filled with confusion as he watched Su Lu, and Su Yan float away. Why did she suddenly change her mood so much? Is she on her period? That was too sudden, wasn't it? Please. Su Zhu looked meaningfully at the Xin Yuan sword in Yi Zichen's hand, then shook her head with a sigh and pointed outside the mountain gate. Lil Vujia, don't try to get anything out of me. I don't know anything. Su Zhu shrugged with a smile. Su Zhu smiled and shrugged. You should hurry up and leave. If Big Sister gets angry, you might not be able to leave even if you wanted to. Su Luer forcefully dragged Su Yin back into the room, then took out the phone from her pocket. Sis, what are you doing? I won't allow you to have any contact with that person in the future. With that, she backed out of the room and closed the door. At the same time, she said to the nearby maids, From now on, third young lady is not allowed to come into contact with anyone, including the young lady of the dragon race and the head of the deer race. Third young lady is not allowed to step out of the room without my permission. Big sis, why? Su Yin, who was in the room, banged on the door and shouted. However, Su Lu simply turned around and walked out of the courtyard as if she didn't hear anything. Lu, Urgia, do you really think that locking up Lil Sis will work? Su Zhu leaned against the wall outside the courtyard and held a green leaf in her hand. Do you also think that my actions were too extreme? Su Lu frowned coldly. Su Zhu smiled and shook her head. I know very well that guy should be the yellow Emperor Xin Yuan for back then. Big Sis definitely has your own reasons for doing this. But are you sure that it will work? No matter what, I have to try. Su Lu bit her lip, her eyes filled with darkness. I can't let him hurt her a second time. I absolutely can't. His fist forcefully smashed against the wall of the courtyard. The surface of the wall immediately cracked and collapsed. At the same time, Su Luer walked forward without saying a word. In this life, I can't possibly watch her leave with you. Yellow Emperor Xin Yuan. Second young lady. The maids in the courtyard looked at the collapsed wall in fear. Suju squinted her eyes and smiled. Just fix the wall. If you want to pay for it, you can come to me. Suju nodded at the maid with a smile, then turned around and left with a wry smile. Does this count as an ill-fated relationship? Yi Zichen tilted his head and looked at the guards in front of him after being chased out by the Fox Yaos. He couldn't help but frown. Just what did I do to piss them off? Zichenji, what happened just now? Xia Kiki blinked her bright eyes. She had wanted to go and see Su Yin, but she was chased out. How would I know? Yi Zichen shrugged speechlessly. Just as he put his hands on his waist and sighed, a familiar face suddenly flashed across his vision. Why is she here? Chapter 513. 100-Year Flat, Peach Sha. Yi Zichen chased after the figure for several minutes, before the figure finally lost Yi Zichen behind the cover of the forest. Why is she avoiding me? Yi Zichen stood on the spot with a frown after losing his target. Not long later, Xia Kiki and company also caught up. Just now, when Yi Zichen silently ran toward the forest, she thought that Su Luer had kicked him out and caused him to have a mental breakdown, causing him to want to feed the brown bears. That's absolutely not possible. Big Brother Zichen is very important. Thinking of this, Xia Kiki brought her people and chased after them. Zichenji, what are you doing here? The forests of the Beast region are all very dangerous. Xia Kiki pouted and glared at him, vaguely releasing a faint draconic aura. Some of the wild beasts hiding in the forest caught a whiff of this scent and ran away without a second thought. For a moment, the forest was filled with the sounds of wild beasts fleeing in panic. I think I saw Sun Yaij just now. Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows. A song. Zichenji, stop joking around, all right? This is the Three Realms. How could Yaij possibly come here? What's more, this is the Endless Beast region. Even if he ascends, he'll have to go to the Immortal region. All right, I was thinking too much. Yi Zichen also understood how idiotic his words were, but that person really did look like Sun Yaij. Sun Yaij, a woman? Mo raised her eyebrows. Yes, it's a woman. Xia Kiki raised her chin and smirked. I'm telling you, you came too late. If we really had to rank them, you would at most be a little mistress. Kiki, don't spout nonsense. Mo and I are just normal friends. Kiki always liked to say this. When Lulu first arrived, she also said the same thing. In the past, that was one thing, but now, Yi Zichen really didn't want to carry a debt of love any longer. He didn't want Keek's words to cause unnecessary misunderstandings. Did you hear that? We're just ordinary friends. Xia Kiki couldn't help but mutter again. She only stopped when she saw Yi Zichen frown towards her. Well, I won't discourage her. But, Big Brother Zichen, since you're in the Beast region, do you want to come over to my place to play? Dragon Clan. Yi Zichen subconsciously touched the bone ring on his finger. Back in a modern realm, he had promised to send the old dragon god back to the Dragon Clan. However, due to the circumstances along the way, this matter had been put on hold. Now that he was in the Beast region, it was clearly the best time to return the bone ring. However, he was reluctant to do so. He had yet to completely learn the Dragon Clan's secret manual. Furthermore, the flow of time in the old dragon god's dimensional space was different from the outside world. This would be of great help to his cultivation. He struggled in his heart, and after a long time, he sighed and replied, All right, I'll go with you for a while. Hey, don't you care about your spiritual breeze village anymore? We've been in the Beast region for quite some time now. Mo couldn't help but speak up. Why do you have so much to say? No one's stopping you if you want to go back. Xia Kiki snorted unhappily. If he's going, I'm going too. Mo raised her chin, unwilling to be outdone. Boss, since you guys are going to the Dragon Clan, I won't be following you guys. Lil White also spoke up. I'll directly return to the Tiango clan. When I have time, I'll go to the immortal region to find you. All right. Yi Zichen nodded with a smile, then watched Lil, White, and company leave. After they disappeared, Xiaokiki also hugged Yi Zichen's shoulders with a smile. Simon, let's go play. Let's go to my house. On the way to the Dragon Clan, Xiaokiki continuously chattered about everything that had happened after she arrived in the Three Realms. Zuoyamo would occasionally interject. Of course, it wasn't to start a conversation, but to attack her. Xiaokiki naturally refused to back down, so the two of them started to argue with each other. Yi Zichen didn't want to get involved, nor could he. He intentionally left some space in the carriage for the two of them, while he sat in the corner and played with his phone. When he opened his social media app, he noticed that the Red Packet server was abnormally active. Immortality Peach Fairy. This is bad. I feel like my salary is going to be deducted again. Canopy Marshall. Monkey Bro. Can't you send me another private packet? It's not like you don't understand my stomach. Monkey King. Idiot. Can't you learn to chew more slowly? Erlang Shun. Ignoring the monkey's other abilities, your ability to steal peaches is truly top-notch. Monkey King. Stop licking. Even if you call me Old Son, Grandpa, Old Son, can't give you another one. Erlang Shun. Monkey, you're asking for death. Fight me if you don't like it. Monkey King. How could I, Old Son, be afraid of you? I heard that you leveled up to the Sky Immortal level a few days ago, but it seems like you did it with pills? Ha, my son, you're really itching for a beating after not hitting you for 3 days. God of Fortune, great deity, please don't be angry. Ahem, thank you, great sage, for sharing your friendship. God of Thunder, great sage, you pretty much picked all of the peaches in the Immortality Peach Garden, right? Immortality Peach Fairy. Zichen raised his eyebrows as he looked at the scrolling messages. It seems like everyone in the group received a peach from the Great Sage, and it was a peach of immortality. It seems like the Great Sage made a move again. Zichen licked his lips and scrolled up the chat history. As he expected, the most recent red packet was from the Monkey King. Tap. Ding dong. You received the Monkey King's red packet. 100-year peach of Immortality X1. There's actually more. Yi Zichen was a bit shocked as he looked at the messages on the screen. Logically speaking, he definitely wouldn't be able to get any since he acted later. What's more, it was something as good as the Peach of Immortality. But the age of the Peach of Immortality seems to be a bit low. Yi Zichen checked out just how many red packets the Great Sage sent. He didn't know if he didn't look, but when he did, he was shocked. 666. He sent a total of 666 red packets. No wonder he came to get more. No wonder the age of the Peach of Immortality is so low. If the Great Sage keeps stealing like this, would there be any peaches of immortality over 50 years old in the next Immortality Peach Feast? But no matter what, it was still a peach of immortality. Taking advantage of the lively atmosphere in the group, Yi Zichen also replied, "Thank you, Great Sage, for the peach of immortality. It would be even more perfect if you could give me a private packet." Ding dong. Yi Zichen's phone vibrated the moment he sent the message. Private packet? Yi Zichen's eyes lit up. He quickly left the group, and just when he wanted to get the private packet from the Great Sage, he noticed that the person who sent him the message wasn't the Great Sage. It was Tai-Bai Jinxing. Yi Zichen let out a regretful sigh, then clicked on Tai-Bai Jinxing's message, "Stop the carriage." Yi Zichen raised his hand to stop the carriage. Zuomo and Xiaokiki, who were arguing intensely, also stopped and looked at him in confusion. Chapter 514. Snatch the Spiritual Treasure. What happened? Xiaokiki pouted. They were about to reach the dragon race's encampment, but Yi Zichen suddenly didn't want to go. They hadn't seen each other in a long time, so she really wanted to stay with Yi Zichen for a while longer. "I'm sorry. There's an urgent situation in the Immortal region." Yi Zichen replied apologetically. Xiaokiki let out a sigh helplessly. "Don't worry. All right, Sai. How about I go to the Celestial Realm with you?" "Third Miss, you can't go there. If your friends need to return to the Immortal region, I can send them back. You must stay in the Beast region." Suddenly, the coachman popped his head out and said, "If your friends need to return to the Immortal region, I can escort them back." Annoying. Xia Kiki pouted unhappily, but when she saw the coachman's unyielding expression, she said, all right, I won't go. Hurry up and send Zichenji back. Don't hold him up. Coco, I'm really sorry. When I have time, I will definitely go to the Dragon Clan to find you. Yi Zichen continued to smile apologetically as he got off the carriage. Xia Kiki pursed her lips with a giggle, then reached out her right pinky. Don't worry about it. Pinky promise. Pinky promise. After separating from Xia Kiki's hand, the coachman also took out a few white crystals and placed them on the ground. A spatial rift appeared in front of the carriage, and the coachman pointed at it as he spoke. Please. Zwetmo nodded and walked into the spatial crack. Just as she was about to enter, she suddenly smiled and raised her eyebrows. Little girl, it seems like Big Sister has won this time. Whoosh! The crack disappeared, and Xia Kiki bit her lips angrily. Zwetmo's smile from back then still lingered in her mind. Infuriating, she angrily knocked on the seat of the carriage, then took out her phone from her pocket and looked at the screen with no messages. What's wrong with Susu? She hasn't replied yet. Zhou Jinhe, your Zhou clan is really persistent. We've already given the mine to you, yet you still came knocking on our door. Do you really think that our spiritual Breeze Village's people are easy to bully? Xueqi frowned. Behind him stood a group of men from the spiritual Breeze Village as they glared angrily at the people from the Zhou family. Village Chief Xue must be joking. Look at your current living environment. How we dare to bully you? Zhou Jinhe smiled. As he smiled, Yi Zichen could see that he was missing 2 teeth. Those are the ones Yi Zichen had beaten up before they moved. Then scram, Xueqi scolded coldly. At the same time, he shouted towards the courtyard. Masterly, someone is causing trouble. Whoosh! A middle-aged man in white robes suddenly appeared before them all. The faint, coercive atmosphere of a human immortal caused the breathing of the cultivators from the Zhou family to turn ragged. This isn't a place for you to mess around. If you don't want to die, scram. How arrogant. An unruly laugh rang out in the air. Everyone raised their heads and saw an old man with white hair and eyebrows descending from the sky with a sinister-looking Mengda by his side. Brother-in-law, Zhou Jinhe was overjoyed. Early human immortal. The old man harumphed, and the expression of the human immortal expert that Zwetmo had left behind flickered. Mid-human immortal stage. At the human immortal stage, every advancement was accompanied by a difference of heaven and earth. Although they were both human immortals, Masterly had to admit that he was no match for this old man. A tiny spiritual Breeze village actually managed to hire a human immortal to protect their village, and they even have a spiritual item. Mengda, you didn't lie to me. The old man faintly raised his eyebrows. Mengda hurriedly smiled apologetically. Master, how could disciple dare to deceive you? Their spiritual Breeze village's rise was all because they mined that black crystal mine. Black crystal mine? Don't tell me that they relied on the black crystal mine to rise to power. Mengda! The old man raised his eyebrows, but he did not seem to mind too much. At his level, black crystal mines were no longer particularly important to him. He came here for the treasure that could move his heart. Master, don't be hasty. Your disciple isn't done yet. Mengda smiled ingratiatingly. He raised his eyebrows and said, You definitely know about the mining of black crystal mines. Of course. To mine the black crystal mine, one must be at least at the human immortal level. Additionally, one must have earth-grade spiritual treasures. However, the strongest person in the spiritual Breeze village back then was only a spiritual body. They did not have any human immortal level experts. Since that was the case, they could only use spiritual treasures to mine it. How do they manage to mine the black crystal mine? This is something worth pondering. At the same time, Zhou Jinhe added, Also, they only mine the black crystal mine for a single day. They actually managed to develop an unknown village to this extent in a single day. Clearly, they managed to mine a lot of black crystal mine. With this speed, that treasure. Mengda smiled meaningfully, and the murky eyes of the old man beside him suddenly lit up. Spiritual treasure. It was a spiritual treasure. It was extremely difficult to mine black crystal mines. Their spiritual breeze village only had spiritual body-level experts, but they actually managed to mine it. The old man roughly estimated that the spiritual item in this garden was worth at least 20 million Celeste. Also, this garden was worth a few million Celeste. According to the black crystal mines price on the black market, that meant that they managed to mine over 500 black crystal mines in a single day. Spiritual treasure. It was definitely a top-grade spiritual treasure. Perhaps the spiritual treasure in their hands was an earth-grade complete stage, or even a heaven-grade spiritual treasure. Although he was a guest chamberlain of the Fire Cloud Gate, his monthly stipend was only a few tens of thousands Celeste. It would take decades to buy an earth-grade spiritual treasure. If it was a heaven-grade, the flames in his eyes burned even hotter, and the old man's breathing quickened. He suddenly took a step forward, and the spiritual pressure of a mid-stage human immortal instantly filled the garden. Hand over the spiritual treasure, and I'll spare your lives. What spiritual treasure? We don't have any spiritual treasures. Xueqi bit his lips and retorted. You don't? Are you trying to say that my disciple is lying to me? The old man narrowed his eyes. If you want to pin a crime on someone, you can always find a pretext. The rise of our spiritual breeze village is indeed related to the black crystal mine, but it's not directly related. Also, our village has an ascender expert, so don't go overboard. Xueqi retorted with a frown. The old man's expression darkened. You're threatening me? You have a sharp tongue. It seems like you won't shed a tear until you see the coffin. Since you're the village chief, I'll make an example out of you. You dare. The moment the old man made his move, Masterly also went up. A puny early-stage human immortal. Scram. The old man beat Masterly until he vomited blood and fell to the ground. He was determined to obtain the spiritual treasure, even if he had to kill. Die. He grabbed towards Xueqi's neck. Everyone from the spiritual breeze village was shocked. At this moment, a sword ray suddenly slashed towards the old man's hand. Chapter 5:15. Since you want it, then I'll give it to you. Sword immortal? The elder quickly retracted his arm. He subconsciously looked behind him and saw Yi Zichen rushing over. Yi, Xueqi, Stone, and company all revealed joyful expressions. Yi Zichen had already become their pillar of support. Zichen Ji. Xuelan also ran over with a sob. This old man wants to kill Big Brother, and they want to steal our village's spiritual treasure. Spiritual treasure? What spiritual treasure? Yi Zichen caressed Xuelan's hair and raised his eyebrows. Spiritual treasure? Why haven't I heard of it? Junior, who is your master? Yi Zichen could feel that he was at the early stage of the human immortal level from his aura. However, he also seemed to be in his early 20s. Being able to reach that level at his age meant that he most likely had a faction supporting him. He was merely a guest chamberlain of the Fire Cloud Gate. When facing a peak faction, he didn't dare to mess with them. I don't have a master. You don't have to keep guessing. I train myself. I don't have any faction supporting me. Yi Zichen smiled. Yi Zichen smiled indifferently. The elder looked at him for a long time with his turbid eyes. I'm not lying. The elder cursed this brat for being stupid in his heart, then snorted with a condescending expression. Junior, hand over the spiritual treasure. I have too many spiritual treasures. I wonder which one do you want? Yi Zichen smiled playfully. The elder squinted his eyes, then felt a burning desire in his heart. Hand them all over. You sure have a big appetite. Aren't you afraid of being stuffed to death? Yi Zichen snickered. I don't like trouble. Hurry up and tell me what spiritual treasure you want. I'll give it to you, then you take the people away. How about that? If you're too greedy, then I don't mind fighting you. We have 2 human immortals on our side. The elder looked at Yi Zichen a few more times. For some reason, he suddenly felt like he couldn't figure out what the brat was thinking. However, what Yi Zichen said was right. He had 2 human immortals on his side. Even if he could deal with them, it would take a lot of effort. His purpose in coming here was to obtain that heaven-grade spiritual treasure. As long as he could obtain that heaven-grade spiritual treasure, the rest of the treasures were of no value to him. Why one is very simple. Give me the spirit treasure you used to mine the black crystal mine. Don't try to use garbage spirit treasures to fool me. Do you understand? Yi Zichen instantly understood. They had actually come here for this. At that time, they used bombs to mine, but from the looks of it, they didn't seem to know about the existence of bombs. That's a very precious treasure. Can you exchange it for another one? Yi Zichen acted like he really didn't want to give it up. When the elder saw that, he became even more certain that it was a sky-grade spiritual treasure. Cut the crap. If you don't hand it over, you'll all die here. Don't be so scary. I'm a very timid person. Yi Zichen sighed dejectedly. All right, I have no choice but to lower my head when I'm under someone else's roof. I'll just give it to you. But when the time comes, you must promise not to hurt us. Of course. The elder was overjoyed. This idiot. If he really used a sky-grade spiritual treasure to fight me, then I might not even be able to beat him. It seems like this brat is a coward as well. He was scared silly by just a bit. I really don't know how he managed to cultivate to the human immortal level at such a young age. It seems like he had a lot of luck on the path of cultivation. But then again, it makes sense. If he didn't have any luck, how could he have gotten a sky-grade spiritual treasure? Wait a moment, this spiritual treasure is too precious. I'll go and get it for you. With that, Yi Zichen prepared to walk towards the backyard. The elder frowned and snorted. You can't be thinking of running, right? So many of the villagers are here. How could I run? What's more, I can't run under your watch. Yi Zichen shrugged helplessly. Heh, I don't think you dare. Hurry up and go. The elder snorted coldly with a proud look. The elder snorted coldly with a prideful look. Yi Zichen turned around and smiled. Yi Zi. Shuiqi also gave Yi Zichen a look as he left. It was as if he was saying, just run away with the spiritual treasure and don't worry about us. Yi Zichen gave him a reassuring look, then walked to a secluded spot in the backyard, took out his phone, and started typing at Yulao. Sky Sovereign, what is it? Send me 2 bombs. I need them urgently. Yi Zichen quickly typed on his phone. 1 moment, I'll get them for you. Approximately a few minutes later, Yulao sent a red packet over. Ding dong. You received Yulao's red packet. Bomb X5. Sky Sovereign, you seem to need bombs quite a bit recently. Do you need us to make some more? That's fine, just in case. After sending the message to Yulao, Yi Zichen clicked open the treasure chest and took out a bomb. Heh, you want treasures? I'll blow you up later, you old bastard. Yi Zichen carried the bomb back to the front yard with a smile. During that time, the elder had been using his spiritual consciousness to lock onto Yi Zichen's position, afraid that Yi Zichen would really run away. When he saw Yi Zichen return with a pitch-black metal ball, he didn't feel any spirituality from the metal ball. Junior, Senior, this is the spiritual treasure we use to mine the black crystal mine. Yi Zichen walked over with the bomb with a smile. Yi Zichen walked over with the bomb with a chuckle. Both Stone and Shuiqi were shocked when they saw that. He really brought it over. They had a very deep impression of the metal ball. It was the metal ball that was used to mine the black crystal mine. Are you sure? The elder frowned. Why can't I feel any spiritual energy from the metal ball? He subconsciously glanced at the villagers around him, and when he saw their expressions, his brows furrowed even more. After living for so long, he naturally had the ability to read people's expressions. From the expressions of the spiritual breeze villagers, it was indeed the metal ball. But why? Could a sky-grade spiritual treasure have reached the realm of returning to one's true self when people can't feel the fluctuation of spiritual energy? Then this junior's luck is truly heaven-defying. He was actually able to notice that. Give it to me. Yi Zichen's face was filled with unwillingness when he gave it to Yi Zichen. His acting skills were enough to win an Oscar. Hurry up, do you want to die? Here, here, here. Yi Zichen chucked the metal ball over as if he was throwing tantrum. The elder quickly caught the metal ball. So heavy. That was the first thing he felt when he caught the metal ball. Then, he tried to use his spiritual energy to control the metal ball, but no matter how much he tried, he was unable to move the metal ball at all. Junior, did you recognize it as your master? No. Then why isn't it reacting? The elder frowned. Only then did Yi Zichen reveal a look of realization. I nearly forgot. With that, he took out a lighter from his pocket and handed it over with a smile. All right, let's go. Chapter 516. The force of a bomb. The old man had an inexplicable expression on his face. He held a lighter in his left hand and a black bomb in his right. It was indeed a high-grade spirit treasure. It actually needed two treasures to be used together. However, the elder did not completely believe Yi Zichen's words. He looked up and couldn't help but raise his eyebrows. Junior, are you sure you're not lying to me? Senior, what are you talking about? I gave you the treasure to protect myself. If I was lying to you, why would I still be standing here? I could have just run away. Yi Zichen's tone was filled with sincerity when he said that. The elder sized him up, then snorted, You're right, you're right. Oomph, you better not lie to me. You know the consequences. As soon as he finished speaking, he took out a lighter and lit up a small flame. Looking at the rising flames, the old man's eyebrows twitched. This really is a treasure. He couldn't help but believe Yi Zichen's words a bit more, and look forward to the black metal ball a bit more. I ignited it. Go ahead. This spiritual treasure is quite powerful. Our spiritual breeze village's people aren't that strong. Can you let us retreat 5 meters? What are you trying to do? Yi Zichen didn't expect the geezer to be so suspicious. He squinted his eyes when he heard Yi Zichen's words. Senior, don't think too much about it. Just now, I said that the power of this spiritual treasure is very strong. We only retreated 5 meters. Yi Zichen smiled coyly. The old man looked at him a few times, then raised his eyebrows. All right, if you want to take this opportunity to escape, humph, I wouldn't dare. He smiled apologetically and took a few steps back. The spiritual breeze villagers also retreated a few meters back. The old man's breathing became heavy at this moment. He held the lighter and moved closer to the fuse of the bomb. Sizzle, strange. Even though the fuse was lit, he still couldn't feel the slightest fluctuation of spiritual power. The elder stared at the bomb in confusion. The fuse quickly lit up, while Yi Zichen also activated a spiritual energy barrier in front of him. Not good. At this moment, the old man felt a chill down his spine. A strong sense of danger spread from his head to the soles of his feet. He raised his hand to throw the bomb, but it was too late. Boom! The bomb exploded in the old man's hand with a loud boom. The area within 10 meters was affected by the explosion. Zhou Zhenhe, the Zhou family, and Mengde were all engulfed by the flames. Some of the weaker people didn't even have the time to react, let alone scream. They were already buried in the explosion. Junior, you deceived this old man. A cold voice rang out from the flames. The Fire Cloud Gate's elder's right arm had been blown away by the explosion. He was covered in blood, and his entire body was covered in cuts and bruises. You really know how to joke. What I gave you is really a treasure to mine black crystal, or I can even swear a great heart demon oath. However, there's one thing that I have indeed lied to you about. This is not a spiritual treasure at all. Yi Zichen smiled calmly, but inwardly he was somewhat shocked. He did not expect the power of the bomb to be so strong. Just now, the old man had already put up a defense at the first moment, but he was still blown up like this. Junior, I'm going to kill you. The elder endured the pain and took a step forward. Hearing that, Yi Zichen's expression darkened, and the spiritual energy around him surged. It's better for this junior to send you off. You've lived for so long, it's worth it. I am still young. Yi Zichen curled his lips, revealing his white teeth and his deep gaze. Then he transferred all of the spiritual energy in his body to his right arm. Xin Yuan's sword also appeared in his hand under his summon, while the blade shone with a brilliant golden light. Slash! The sword energy flew towards the old man with a tremendous force. All of a sudden, a huge hand appeared in the sky and crushed the sword energy. Junior, you are so bold. You actually dared to touch a guest chamberlain of the Fire Cloud Gate. You are seeking death. The sky rumbled, and another huge hand descended from the sky. This time, its target was Yi Zichen. Lousy calls the shots in Lousy's territory. Who do you think you are? Yi Zichen raised Xin Yuan's sword and instantly shattered the huge hand, then slashed it horizontally towards the elder. This is the spirit treasure I want. The elder stared at Xin Yuan's sword in Yi Zichen's hand with an infatuated look. His eyes bulged out as he roared angrily. Junior, you tricked this old man. I won't let you off even if I become a ghost. If you really go to the underworld, you really can't do anything to me. Go. This has nothing to do with you. Pooh. Fresh blood dyed the courtyard red. The guest chamberlain of the fire cloud gate also fell to the ground with his eyes wide open. Junior, stop yelling. Come down if you dare. Yi Zichen kicked the old man to the side, then raised his eyebrows and looked up into the sky. Junior, our fire cloud gate will remember this. When the purple clouds in the sky disappeared, Yi Zichen rolled his eyes in disdain, then wiped away the blood on Xin Yuan's sword and sheathed it. He looked at the people around him. The people from his Zhou clan and Meng De had already died in the explosion. Get rid of them, Yi Zichen said plainly. Zhuo Mo, who had been hiding at the door and watching the situation, ran over with a strange light in her eyes. Yi Zichen, where did you give that old man just now? A bomb, Yi Zichen replied. A bomb? Zhuo Mo raised her eyebrows. Can this treasure be mass-produced? As the person in charge of the treasure pavilion, she could already tell how extraordinary the bomb was. Even though it was a one-time use item, it was still very powerful since it was able to blast a mid-stage human immortal expert into such a state. If she could hoard some in the clan, or get the elites of the clan to carry a few, even if a spiritual body expert encountered a human immortal level expert, it wouldn't be a problem. It could be mass-produced. Do you want to hoard it? Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows. But I need to supply the spiritual breeze village with enough before I can supply you with more. Yi Zichen also noticed the practicality of the bomb through the situation just now. Although it was very dangerous to store the bomb, it would be fine as long as one was careful. If it really didn't work, then he could just buy them a spatial divine artifact. The most important thing was the power of the bomb. He couldn't stay in the village forever. If anyone comes to cause trouble in the future, then I'll just throw a bomb at them to show my friendliness. More importantly, the person who appeared just now should be a higher up of the fire cloud gate. Now that the grudge was set, he had to leave the villagers some means to protect themselves. No problem. If you don't have enough materials or manpower, then feel free to find me. So Amo nodded without any hesitation. As for the price, we'll talk about it when the time comes. Yi Zichen smiled, then took out his phone and sent a message to Yu Lao. Chapter 517. Chapter 517. Zhuo Qingcheng. Here, the spatial divine artifact you wanted. Zhuo Mo, who was wearing a plain dress, tossed a bracelet towards Yi Zichen. The bracelet was completely black and looked rather insignificant. However, no one could imagine that the bracelet was actually a spatial divine artifact with an internal space of 100 cubic meters. Thanks. How much Celeste is it? Yi Zichen handed the bracelet to a villager beside him for him to pass to Xueqi, while he prepared to withdraw some money from his phone. Why are you being so courteous with me? I'm giving it to you. Yi Zichen couldn't help but shake his head with a wry smile when he saw Zhuo Mo's relaxed expression. In the lands outside the sacred land of the immortal region, only a little rich lady like her could be so relaxed when giving out spatial divine artifacts. Oh yeah, I've already tested the second batch of bombs you gave me. They are indeed slightly weaker than the first batch. Zhuo Mo sat down opposite Yi Zichen and raised her eyebrows. Zhuo Mo raised her eyebrows as she sat across from Yi Zichen. It had already been half a month since the people of the Fire Cloud Gate came looking for trouble. During that time, Yi Zichen had also gotten some bomb materials from Zhuo Mo for Yu Lao to refine. However, Zhuo Mo's reply confirmed Yi Zichen's thoughts. The reason why the bombs Yu Lao and company made were so powerful was because of the materials from the Heavenly Court. Sending the materials from the Fire Cloud Gate would be slightly weaker. How's the effect? Earth Immortal level experts are hard to defend against, but human Immortal level experts aren't very effective, Zhuo Mo replied. How did you test it out? Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows curiously. However, Zhuo Mo replied with a bone-chilling smile. Of course we're using people. The treasure tower has plenty of enemies. We can practically catch a few that want to harm us every day. Yi Zichen couldn't help but gulp when he saw her smile. Mo also smirked like a demon when she noticed his gaze. You should be glad that we became allies, or else. Huh. Yi Zichen nodded, his scalp tingling. Seeing his expression, Mo pursed her lips into a smile. Mo pursed her lips with a smile. I'm kidding. The treasure tower naturally has a device to measure energy. Do you think I'm that cold-blooded to test it on a living person? Mo rolled her eyes, then stood up from the chair with a shrug. I'm just kidding. There's an auction that I need to organize later, so I won't disturb you anymore. It seems that you don't want me to stay here either. How could that be? I'm more than happy to have a beauty by my side. Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows with a smile. Mo twitched her mouth. Do you lack beauties around you? The ones I saw the other day were all absolute beauties. Ahem. You want to organize an auction? Are there any good treasures there? Yi Zichen intentionally changed the topic. He didn't want to argue with a woman about these things. Mo wrinkled her nose and snorted, then raised her eyebrows. Can't you just go and see for yourself? Backstage of the Treasure Tower auction house in Maple City, Zhuo Liang, who Yi Zichen hadn't seen for a long time, was currently calling out to the auction house's staff to check the goods. Yi Zichen did a rough calculation and found that there were at least 15 experts of the human immortal level or above standing guard around the goods. In particular, there was a white-haired old man sitting on a rattan chair not far away. From the looks of it, he might be a heaven immortal expert. The Treasure Tower's people must have been more vigilant after Shi Qian came to steal the goods last time. Lil Yang, how are the preparations? Mo raised her eyebrows. Zhuo Liang, who was busy with work, turned around and immediately smiled when he saw the two of them. Sis, Zichen Ji, you guys came as well. We've pretty much finished checking the goods here, and the prices have been set. We're just waiting for the auction to start. Not bad. Zhuo nodded. Zhuo nodded indifferently. At that moment, the elder on the rattan chair suddenly stood up. Young lady, when did you come back? Why do you look so surprised? Zhuo snorted meaningfully, then looked at Yi Zichen and pointed at the assortment of goods. These are the items for auction this time. Take a look at what you like and tell me directly. I'll gift it to you. Look at how she's talking. She truly is willful when she's rich. Yi Zichen smiled. He naturally wouldn't ask her for those goods. He had already received a lot of care from her recently. Young lady, these goods can't be casually sent out. At that moment, the old man sitting on the rattan chair stood up with a frown. These are all treasures that we, the Treasure Tower, risked our lives to obtain. These are all treasures that our Treasure Tower obtained a high price or by risking our lives, yet you're giving them away so casually. Also, this is the backer of our Treasure Tower. Aren't you afraid of him harboring evil intentions by bringing an outsider in? Is Elder Lin disciplining me? Zhuo's expression also darkened. I'm not disciplining you. This old man is merely stating the truth. This old man naturally wouldn't say all that if you wanted to gift out your treasures, but in front of you. The Treasure Tower is mine. Why do you have to say that the treasures in front of me aren't? With that, Zhuo snorted toward the old man. Elder Lin, aren't you being a bit too nosy? Emojia, why did you get so angry? But since you said that the Treasure Tower is yours just now, little sister can't take it anymore. At that moment, an alluring woman walked in. Zhuo Liang couldn't help but raise his eyebrows when he saw her. What are you doing here? Zhuo squinted her eyes tightly. The woman rubbed her chin and smiled. If I didn't come, I wouldn't have been able to hear Big Sister's arrogant words. Can you explain the ownership of the Treasure Tower to little sister? Zhuo, hurry up and put away that foxy smile of yours. Speak properly when you're talking to me. I seem to have heard a questioning tone in your voice just now. Zhuo raised her eyebrows, but Zhuo pursed her lips into a smile. I wouldn't dare. If you don't dare, then hurry up and disappear from my sight before I get angry. Zhuo's eyes flashed with a cold light. Yes, little sister will leave. Zhuo maintained her fox-like smile the entire time, then walked out of the room while swaying her hips. Before she left, she even winked at Yi Zichen. A long time after Zhuo left, the people in the room didn't even dare to breathe. Who can explain to me why Zhuo is here? Zuo swept her gaze across the crowd, causing them to lower their heads wherever her gaze landed. You won't speak? Very good. It seems like you're all loyal to the treasure tower, even if the one you're loyal to isn't me. Zuo nodded with a smile, then snorted, Don't worry. Chapter 518. The Jade Emperor wants to add you as a friend. Who can explain to me why that woman would appear there? Zuo Qingsheng, who had just left the auction house, looked at the people around her with a frown. Didn't they say she's in the Endless Beast region now? Why was she in the auction house when I went there just now? Who can explain this to me? Pa! The mahogany table in front of them was smashed to pieces by Zuo Qingsheng. Everyone in the room kept quiet out of fear. After a long while, one of the young men replied in a trembling voice. Master, we said that young mistress is in the Endless Beast region, not us. Zuo Qingsheng suddenly squinted at the young man and raised her brows. How come I've never seen you before? I just came to our treasure tower. The young man replied with his head lowered. Since you've just arrived, how dare you talk back to me? Zuo Qingsheng's face darkened. Suddenly, the young man's hand tugged at the area around his neck, as if there was an invisible hand grabbing him. Everyone else in the room lowered their heads, not daring to speak. Not long after, the young man flew up from the ground. His legs were wide open, and his eyes were bloodshot, bulging outwards. After a full 15 minutes, the frequency of the young man's struggles gradually decreased. When he finally stopped struggling, he fell from the sky and landed heavily on the ground. Deal with him. Zuo Qingsheng looked at the lifeless young man indifferently. Two people in the room dragged him away before she spoke again. Contact people to destroy Zuo's auction. No matter the price, understand? Understood. Everyone in the room nodded. Only then did Zuo Qingsheng let out a satisfied snort. She once again put on that seductive smile and left the room while swaying her hips. Zichenji, this is the room my sis arranged for you. Zuo Liang brought Yi Zichen to a room on the 8th floor with a smile. When Yi Zichen saw the decorations of the room, he couldn't help but shake his head and sigh. How extravagant. There were many precious spirit items in the room, and as long as one stepped inside, the overflowing spirit energy would open up all the pores on one's body. If there's anything you need, just press the bell on the window. There's always a waiter outside. All right. Yi Zichen nodded, then asked, Who was that woman just now? Her? She's my second uncle's daughter. Zuo Liang raised his eyebrows. It seems like Zuo's relationship with her isn't particularly good. Yi Zichen asked in confusion. It's not bad, it's quite bad. The two of them have never been on good terms since they were young, especially when the 100 Treasure Pavilion is going to elect a new pavilion master. My sister and Zuo Qingsheng are both strong candidates for the position, so naturally, their relationship has become even worse. You don't seem to be that hostile towards Zuo Qingsheng. Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows. I'm different from them. I'm actually a posthumous child. Sister Zuo's father adopted me out of kindness. I don't have any ambitions for the position of pavilion master, so I won't be like them. Zuo Liang replied with a smile before raising his brows. I'm not going to talk to you anymore. I still have to warm up the crowd when the auction starts. If you need anything, just ask the waiter outside. All right, then go ahead and do your work. Don't worry about me. Zuo Liang nodded faintly and walked out of the room. Auctionee Zichen sat down by the window, since he was able to see the auction from the front. Since the auction hasn't started yet, Yi Zichen took out his phone from his pocket. He clicked open the red packet server and saw that the deities in the group were arguing. Erlang Shan, do you know how long Laozi has tolerated you? You've been blabbering in the group with a Smuff account every day. Do you dare to use your main account? God of Thunder. Yeah, you've been blabbering every day. Why are you so annoying? Can it be Marshall? The Jade Emperor isn't here either. Bro, he won't be able to see you even if you suck up to him. God of Fortune, you're a retard. Tai Bai Jinxing used to be the peacemaker in the Heavenly Court. Ever since he left the Heavenly Court, the responsibility fell onto pagoda-bearing Heavenly King Li. Seeing that the deities in the group were about to start fighting, he had no choice but to speak up. Pagoda-bearing Heavenly King Li. Everyone stop talking. Forget it. Little Prince, Old Li, don't mind me. Little Prince, Yang Jian, Zhao Gongming, Old Pig, and Lai Zinzi, I think you guys are seeking death. You actually dared to challenge heavenly might. Erlang Shun. If you can fight, then try not to argue. If you can, then bring your main account in. Lousy won't beat the shit out of you. From the looks of it, these people were arguing with the little prince. To be honest, Yi Zichen didn't have a good impression of the little prince. The little prince started to talk to the others like he was the boss of the heavenly court. Everyone in the group was a respectable deity who would allow a cowardly person like him to do anything. Little prince. Hee. Erlang Shun. Oh wow, you actually dare to hee with me. Grandson, I think you're truly tired of living. There's no point in talking anymore. Let's fight if you don't want to. Little prince. Hee bang. The moment he sent the message, Yi Zichen kicked the brat out of the group. This brat broke the harmony of the group the moment he arrived. This sort of behavior cannot be allowed to continue. Erlang Shun, grandson, don't hee with Lousy. Let's fight if you don't want to. All right, I kicked that person out of the group. Yi Zichen popped up in the group. God of Thunder, Sky's sovereign finally arrived. I should have kicked this grandson out long ago. I've been hearing him ramble in the group for the past few days. He interferes with us when we play cards. He interferes with us when we joke. So annoying. God of Fortune. Yeah, Lousy doesn't know who he is. If he knew, God of Fortune's words were self-explanatory. If he knew, then he would definitely destroy all of that brat's fortune. Erling Shun, bro, you came. That brat is lucky. Otherwise, Lousy would have broken his leg. Pagoda bearing heavenly kingly. All right, let's talk less. He was kicked out of the group. Erlang Shun. Never mind. I don't want to pay attention to that brat. Oh yeah, bro, I don't have work today. How about I go down and play with you? Can it be Marshall? Bring me, old pig. God of Thunder. Are you guys going to find Sky Sovereign? Sky Sovereign returned to the heavenly court? Immortality Peach Fairy. I want to go as well. Erlang Shun. Little girl, what are you going to do? Take care of your Immortality Peach Garden. Did the Queen Mother not punish you for stealing a peach last time? You really don't remember. Erlang Shun. My bro isn't in the heavenly court. He's over at the Immortal Region. Do you want to go together? God of Thunder. Immortal Region? Then never mind. I'm on duty today. God of Fortune. I do want to go as well, but I can't leave right now. If Sky Sovereign comes to the heavenly court, then let's get together when we have time. Erling Shun. Then I'll go with Old Pig. Only idealism, bro. Are you free or not? While everyone in the group was discussing about coming down to the lower realm to find him, Yi Zichen was completely stunned when he saw a friend request. Chapter 519. Jade Emperor's Smuff. Yi Zichen remained silent for a long time as he looked at the friend request. The Jade Emperor actually added him as a friend, which caught him off guard. He took a look at the method and saw that it was actually a search for accounts. A question lingered in his mind. Just how did the Jade Emperor find me? There's definitely a secret that no one knows about. Yi Zichen licked his lips. After hesitating for about half a minute, he chose to accept. The first thing he had to pay attention to after the friend request was naturally their intimacy level. 0 o'clock. Cold. Their intimacy level naturally determined how they would chat. Just as Yi Zichen was pondering whether he should send a message to the big shots in the heavenly court, idealism. The Jade Emperor had already sent him a message. Yi Zichen couldn't tell what the Jade Emperor's tone was from the cold words on the screen, but he definitely wasn't very friendly. Boss Jade Emperor, what business do you have with this lowly one? That was the reply that appeared on the screen without any other message. Is he laughing? Impossible. It definitely isn't that simple. I wonder why Boss Jade Emperor is laughing? Yi Zichen asked in a testing manner. Sky Sovereign Nameless, calling himself a lowly one, isn't worthy of this Emperor's laughter. Sky Sovereign, there are tens of thousands of supreme immortals in the heavenly court, but there are only a few who call themselves Sky Sovereign. The Jade Emperor's reply appeared on the screen. Yi Zichen felt a bit guilty when he saw the message. The reason why he could call himself Sky Sovereign was because the heavenly court's butler, Tai-Bai Jinxing, gave him the position. Now that Tai-Bai Jinxing had left the heavenly court, Yi Zichen, who had no organization, was not afraid at all when he met the Jade Emperor. Ha ha! Yi Zichen chuckled dryly. He didn't want to dwell on this topic anymore. Otherwise, he would be exposed sooner or later. Laugh. This emperor already checked. There are a total of 12 sky sovereigns in the heavenly court, but there is no sky sovereign nameless. Yi Zichen could no longer remain calm after seeing that. Why did the Jade Emperor find me? It seems like he's going to punish me. I wonder why the Jade Emperor is looking for me. You still dare to ask this emperor? If you didn't kick this emperor's Smuff account, would this emperor need to add you with my main account? A Smuff? Stop joking around. Yi Zichen wouldn't kick his Smuff even if he had 10 guts. No, he seemed to have really kicked a Smuff just now. Back then, the little prince had been disrupting the harmony of the group, so Yi Zichen kicked him. Could it be the little prince is you? Of course, before I became an immortal, I was a prince of some country. Yours truly had been lurking quite well in the group. To think that you would dare to kick yours truly out of the group. How dare you? The Jade Emperor must be sick. That was Yi Zichen's true thoughts. Every day, he would use a Smuff account to argue with those deities in the group without revealing his identity. As the admin of the group, Yi Zichen had to get rid of this tumor. Otherwise, how was his group supposed to develop? But he couldn't say it. The Jade Emperor was a big shot in the heavenly court. Although Yi Zichen wasn't in the heavenly court, he was still part of the three realms. If he angered this boss, he would definitely not have a good life. Jade Emperor, what do you want to do? I want to re-enter the group. Once you're in the group, you're not allowed to tell anyone else about yours truly's identity. Yours truly is going to lurk in the group and see what these guys are busy with. No problem, Yi Zichen replied with a coy smile, but the Jade Emperor didn't reply to him anymore. When Yi Zichen returned to the Red Packet server, he saw that Yang Jian kept on talking about descending, while mentioning Yi Zichen, I don't have anything to do recently. If you guys want to come down, then come down. Erlang Shun, I've been waiting for you for a long time. All right, since you said so, then Old Pig and I'll come down now. Canopy Marshal, Sky Sovereign, wait for me. Immortality Peach Fairy, I want to see Big Brother as well, God of Thunder. Sky Sovereign, let's meet up in the Heavenly Court when you have time. I've been so busy recently that I don't have time to go down. Chang'e, can I go down with you? The moment Chang'e appeared, everyone in the group went silent. All of the deities knew about her relationship with Yi Zichen. Yi Zichen, who was sitting in the room, also rubbed his nose. Should I let her come down or not? Just as he was hesitating, Little Prince entered the group by scanning the QR code. God of Thunder, F***CK, God of Fortune. Why did this grandson come in again? Canopy Marshal, Immortality Peach Fairy. Why do I have a bad feeling? A huge battle is about to break out. Yulao, melon seeds, peanuts, and mineral water for sale in the front row. Little Prince, Yulao, you actually became like this. This is so sad. God of Thunder, can you stop blabbering? Sky Sovereign, hurry up and kick this brat. Yi Zichen felt like his head was about to explode when he saw all the messages mentioning him in the group. The ignorant are fearless. This saying was not false at all. They thought that the little prince was a retard. But if they knew that the person they had been mercilessly mocking was the Jade Emperor, would they cry? Don't find this sovereign for anything related to the little prince from now on. Ahem. But the members of the group should argue less. We need to be harmonious. All right, that's it. Yi Zichen quickly left the group with that. What he didn't know was that God of Thunder. Since Sky Sovereign doesn't care, then Little Prince, say less in the future as well, so that you don't offend everyone. God of Fortune, don't let Lousy find out who you are, or I'll break your legs. Canopy Marshal, what are you guys doing? Old Pig and Yang Jian are going to find Sky Sovereign to play with. God of Thunder, go. Little Prince, you guys are going to descend. Who allowed you guys to go down? Erlang Shun, retard. Yi Zichen put his phone to the side and held a spiritual fruit that he stole from Monkey Bro. Out of sight, out of mind. He didn't dare to offend the Jade Emperor in his current situation. If the deities in the group aren't afraid of death, then let's do it. When the Jade Emperor's identity is revealed, they wouldn't even be able to find a reason to cry. To be honest, the preparation time for the auction was truly too long. Yi Zichen had already sat in the room for half an hour, and all of the seats downstairs were filled, but the auction still hadn't started. What's wrong? Yi Zichen couldn't help but raise his eyebrows. He couldn't help but think in that direction after everything that happened backstage. At that moment, someone knocked on the door of his room. Yi Zichen subconsciously glanced at the door, then put away his phone on the table, stood up from the chair, and walked in front of the door. When he opened the door, he saw a young man about the same age as him, who was dressed like he came from a rich family. The young man looked at him with a smile. Chapter 520. Mount Supreme Yi Zichen was very certain that the young man in front of him was someone he had never met before. Yi Zichen didn't get a chance to reject a smiling person. Neither his tone nor his smile gave Yi Zichen a chance to refuse. Not long later, Yi Zichen nodded and opened the door. "Brother, you sure know how to enjoy yourself." The young man should be referring to the decorations in the room. Hearing that, Yi Zichen smiled. The decorations of the auction house have nothing to do with me. "Oh, I thought that brother set it up yourself," the young man smiled. The corner of the young man's mouth curled up slightly as he said, "I have a private room on the 8th floor as well, but it's not decorated like this. It seems like brother has a very good relationship with the people in this auction house." "It's all right." Yi Zichen remained vigilant before he could figure out the man's intentions. "I wonder what you came here for?" The young man smiled when he heard Yi Zichen's question, then caressed the hair on his forehead with his fingers. "Hi. This one is Yi Liangchun." Yi Zichen cupped his hands. God knows if this brat is using a fake name or not. Since Yi Zichen isn't familiar with him, it doesn't matter if he give him a fake name. Yi Liangchun is very strong. "It's actually Brother Liangchun." Bai nodded with a smile. And said, "As for my goal in coming here, it's very simple." "Brother, you should be able to guess it." "I really can't." Yi Zichen twitched his mouth with a smile. "We're both people with keys, so there's no need to act dumb, right?" Bai sat on the chair in the room with a smile. Yi Zichen was shocked when he heard that. "Key." Yi Zichen subconsciously touched the key that Ruan Qingtian gave him in his pocket. Could Bai be talking about this? "Look, Brother Liangchun's actions have already betrayed you." Bai maintained his calm smile. "When I came to the auction house and saw my key light up, I knew that there were definitely other people with keys nearby. When I came to the auction house, I saw my key glowing, so I knew that there must be other key holders nearby. Although I know it's a little abrupt, I couldn't help but disturb you." "Then what did you come here for? Are you here to greet me, or do you want to steal it?" Yi Zichen chuckled, his gaze sharpening. Although he didn't care much for the key, there was no reason for him to let someone else take it away from him. "Brother Liangchun, you've really wronged me." Bai hurriedly waved his hand and said, "How could I dare to rob someone who is related to such a big auction house? Even if I really want to snatch it, I have to find a place with no one around, right? You're quite an upright person. I'm just telling the truth." Bai smiled faintly and said, "I came this time to meet with Brother Liangchun and see if we can form a good relationship. When Mount Supreme really opens, it'll be best if we can look out for each other if we bump into each other. If not, let's not become enemies." "Supreme?" Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows. "Brother Liangchun, don't you know?" Bai was also stunned for a moment. He smiled meaningfully and said, "Mount Supreme, as its name suggests, is a divine mountain that can give birth to sovereigns. Brother, you should know that although the immortal kings of the lower 3 realms are high and mighty, they are merely ants in the upper 3 realms." Yi Zichen could feel Bai's disdain towards the immortal kings of the lower 3 realms from his words. It was as if he didn't care about the entire 3 realms at all. Could this Bai be someone from the upper 3 realms? "Brother Liangchun, no need to think too much. Mount Supreme is about to open. I hope you'll show mercy when we really fight." With that, Bai walked out of the room. Yi Zichen sat on the sofa in the room in a daze, while Bai's words continuously echoed in his mind. Mount Supreme. Supreme is above the immortal king. However, his face was quickly filled with self-mockery. "Supreme? What Supreme? I'm just a small fry who just became a human immortal. Supreme, I don't even know if I can reach the immortal king level." At that moment, a cheer suddenly sounded out from the 7th floor. Yi Zichen walked over to the window and saw that Mo had appeared as he expected. Yi Zichen circulated his spiritual energy around the auction building a few times. As he did so, he felt several extremely sharp auras sweeping towards him. It seems like Zuo has been setting up defenses. Last time, Shi Qian's disruption of the auction had a huge impact on both her and the treasure tower. She can't allow something like that to happen again. There was also a spiritual formation on the roof of the auction building, which was most likely to prevent people from entering from the roof. Sorry for making everyone wait. I'm very grateful that everyone could come to our treasure tower's auction again. As everyone knows, the treasure tower usually holds an auction once every 6 months. However, we've opened it again in a short month. The main reason is because of the farce last time. In order to thank everyone for supporting us, I'm opening the auction earlier. Our auctioneers will go up on stage one by one later. I hope that everyone, Zuo, who was wearing a plain dress, spoke on the stage with a smile. However, before she could finish dong dong dong, hurried footsteps sounded out from behind the auction stage. Not long later, Zuo shouted anxiously, "Sis, someone came to steal the goods. Sis, someone came to steal the goods." What? Zuo raised her eyebrows. She subconsciously looked around the auction building. Those were all the places where she had set up defenses. All of the experts were also shocked. No one tried to forcefully break through their defenses, nor did anyone with a strange expression appear. No one with a strange expression appeared. How could the auction be robbed? Bang! A huge sound suddenly sounded out from behind the auction stage before anyone could react. The wooden board shattered, and a skinny man with a red cloth tied around his face stood on the auction stage with his hands on his waist and a large cloth bag in his hands. "Get up from where you fell. Grandpa was stopped last time. Come and catch Grandpa again if you dare." Shi Qian, Yi Zichen, who was sitting in a room on the 8th floor, instantly guessed the person who stole the goods. Zuo was also quite shocked. However, she was more annoyed than shocked. He had tried to steal the goods in her territory multiple times, and this time, he even stood in front of her and shouted at her. She couldn't take it anymore. "Stop him!" Zuo shouted and pointed forward. All of the experts in the auction house acted at the same time, except for the sky immortal level old man. "Hey, didn't Grandpa say that a puny human immortal wants to catch lousy? You're dreaming." Shi Qian's ability to escape was top-notch. Even when 10-odd human immortal level experts surrounded and attacked him, he still maintained a calm expression. In just a split second, Shi Qian had already arrived in front of the auction house's window. If there was no surprise, then he should have escaped. Creak! Zuo clenched her teeth and clenched her fists unwillingly. However, no one expected Shi Qian, who was originally able to escape, to suddenly stop. Chapter 5:21. The tragic Shi Qian, who was standing in front of the window, was about to cry. He gripped the large cloth bag tightly with his right hand as he looked at the man in front of him with a headache. His bitter words also caused the person in front of him to be stunned. "We've met before?" This time, it was Shi Qian's turn to be confused. He looked at the man in front of him blankly. "Big bro, you don't know me? Should we know each other?" The man in front of him was also confused. Shi Qian's crying face instantly brightened up when he heard the man's confused reply. F***CK. Lousy was scared to death. "Big bro, we don't know each other. Can you give this window position to little brother? Little brother has to run for his life," Shi Qian said anxiously. The group of human immortals were chasing after him like rabid dogs. He did not have much time to waste. The man in front of him subconsciously gave him the window position, causing Shi Qian to crawl out of the window gratefully. "Wait a moment." The man behind Shi Qian spoke up before he even took a few steps out. Shi Qian's expression drastically changed. He gulped and turned around, only to see that the man in front of him had already reached towards him. "Big bro, we don't know each other, right?" Shi Qian truly cried. Was this big bro just messing with me? He was truly speechless. I've only attacked twice in total, and both of them were stopped by this big bro. Should I say that we're fated, or should I say that I'm unlucky? I really can't remember who you are, but my bro told me to catch you. The man shrugged helplessly and crawled in through the window. At that moment, Yi Zichen had already run from the 8th floor to the auction stage on the 7th floor. The man who grabbed Shi Qian also waved towards him and walked over. Bang! Zuo frowned after she threw Shi Qian heavily onto the ground. She took about 3 seconds to recover from her shock. Restrain him. The surrounding human immortal experts all rushed over. Just as Zuo wanted to thank the man, she saw the man walk in front of Yi Zichen. Bro, Yang Jian, you truly came in time. Yi Zichen patted his shoulders with a smile, then raised his eyebrows. Yi Zichen smiled and patted his shoulders, then raised his eyebrows. Why is an old pig with you? Old pig. I'm here. Bang. The wooden building on the 7th floor of the auction house was knocked open with a bang, and a burly man dressed in a light purple robe with oily hair and powdered face rushed in. Who? Accomplices? Everyone in the auction house was on high alert. Seeing that, Yi Zichen couldn't help but facepalm and smile wryly. Does this brat, Zhu Ganglai, not know how to use the door? Then, he glanced at the people from a treasure tower, who were on high alert, and shrugged at Zuo. Tell your people that he's my friend. Don't be so nervous. All right. Zuomo's eyes flashed with an indescribable light as she swept her gaze over Yi Zichen, Yang Jian, and Zhu Ganglai. Then, she comforted the people of the treasure tower a bit more, while Yi Zichen walked up to them. Don't you know how to use the door? Are you the celestial master? That brat Yang Jian is such a jerk. I was buying food just now, and he ran away first. I don't have any money in my pocket, so I gave the peddler a spiritual bead. I'm going to die of a loss. As Zhu Ganglai said that, he twitched his mouth towards Yang Jian. You only know how to eat every day. Are you a pig? Yang Jian rebuked angrily. You're right, I'm a pig. Zhu Ganglai glared with a snort. Yi Zichen was as speechless as he could be. However, Zhu Ganglai seemed to be the only person who could call himself a pig so confidently. That's right, I'm a pig. Say, can you guys take care of me? I feel a bit uncomfortable lying on the floor. Shi Qian couldn't help but speak up. Shi Qian, who was coldly standing to the side, couldn't help but speak up. The guest chamberlain of the treasure tower who was controlling him raised his hand and slapped his head. Behave yourself. Seriously, Laozi is the godly thief, Shi Qian. Even if you guys catch me, at least let Laozi have some dignity, right? Otherwise, how can Laozi raise his head in front of all the young masters in the surrounding villages? Shi Qian continuously complained as he laid on the floor. At that moment, Yi Zichen walked over and squatted down with a smile. You still want to go back? Who are you? Shi Qian looked up at him with a snort. I'm telling you, if you can, then keep catching me like this. Otherwise, even if you lock me up, Laozi will still run when I need to. Otherwise, do you think you can catch me if I meet that big bro again? It seems like you're very confident in your ability to escape. Not very confident, but rather very confident. Shi Qian twitched his mouth and snorted, then shook his shoulders. Shi Qian curled his lips and snorted. His shoulders shook as he said, Hurry up and let me get up. The ground is so cold. Can you bear the responsibility if I catch a cold? Let him get up, Yi Zichen snorted with a smile. Yi Zichen smiled. The guest chamberlains controlling him all looked towards Mo listened to him. From now on, his word are the same as mine in the treasure tower, Mo replied. The guest chamberlains quickly let go of Shi Qian. Shi Qian patted the dust off his body and snorted, Listen to him. At least you know your place. Slap. Just as Shi Qian was acting like an idiot, someone smacked the back of his head. Which grandson? Big bro, how did this lowly one piss you off? Shi Qian immediately cowered when he saw that it was actually Yang Jian. Laozi remembers who you are. You're the brat I caught last time, right? I'm telling you, be more polite when you speak to my bro, otherwise Laozi will beat you to death. As he spoke, Yang Jian even raised his hand to scare Shi Qian. Seeing that, Shi Qian immediately shrunk his neck and twitched his mouth. Seeing that, Yi Zichen couldn't help but smile. Say your luck is really bad. Say, your luck is really bad. Even when you're trying to steal goods, you still manage to bump into me. Huh. Shi Qian twitched his mouth and snorted. However, the moment he saw Yang Jian frown, he couldn't help but change his expression. Yes, I'm unlucky. Tell me, how do you want to deal with me? You want me to help you steal things, or what? Didn't I just steal your goods a few times? I didn't succeed. Is there a need to get so many people involved? Yi Zichen continued to smile as he looked at Shi Qian's expression. This godly thief is rather interesting. I don't want you to steal anything from me. I just want to ask you a question. If you answer truthfully, then I can let you go. Are you sure? Shi Qian's eyes lit up. Then he glanced at the surrounding people. Does your words count? His words count. Zhuo Mo raised her eyebrows. No one will stop you if he says that he'll let you go. And who are you, little girl? Shi Qian rolled his eyes. A guest chamberlain of the treasure tower immediately frowned and scolded angrily. This is our treasure tower's young lady. Be more polite. What are you being so fierce for? Do you think you're my big bro? Shi Qian rolled his eyes at the guest chamberlains, then shrugged helplessly at Yi Zichen. Chapter 5:22. Disaster after such a farce. The auction naturally wouldn't continue. Zhuo Mo sent the guests off apologetically, while Yi Zichen moved a chair over from the backstage and sat down as he looked at Shi Qian. Why did you become a thief? Don't say it so badly, okay? I'm a thief. Shi Qian replied in annoyance. Even thieves have morals. Haven't you heard of it? Oh, fine. Then isn't that saying that you're a thief? You're a thief. Why did you repeatedly come to steal from the treasure tower? The treasure tower is rich. Shi Qian licked his lips. Shi Qian licked his lips and said, after I steal it, I don't use it for myself. I'm a righteous thief. The treasures that I steal are all given to the commoners who can't afford to live. Hearing that, Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows and nodded. At that moment, Shi Qian spoke up once again. I didn't understand the situation when I first came, and thought that the treasure tower was exploiting the commoners. After I went back, I looked into it and found out that the treasure tower would often give out food to the poor. After that, I didn't plan on stealing from them anymore. But you still came. Yi Zichen smiled. It's different this time. Shi Qian waved his hand. Someone contacted me and told me to come and ruin the auction. I wanted to refuse, but I was moved by the price they offered, so I decided to go against my conscience and do it. I didn't expect to meet this big bro again. Shi Qian looked at Yang Jian with a sad expression, then raised his eyebrows. Oh yeah, this big bro is the real robber. He stole the goods last time. Why didn't you guys arrest him? That's my bro. He returned the goods he stole from you to the treasure tower. Yi Zichen replied calmly. Zhuo Mo, who stood on the side, smiled. That's my bro Zhuo Mo, who stood on the side, smiled. No wonder this benefactor didn't want anything but the barrier-breaking grass. It was all your idea, right? When you gave me the barrier-breaking pill, I was wondering where you got the ingredients from. Ahem, Yi Zichen coughed. He didn't continue the discussion, and instead turned to Shi Qian. You said that you came because someone asked you to ruin the auction? Yes. Shi Qian answered with certainty. Who? Yi Zichen narrowed his eyes. Zhuo Mo's expression darkened as well. She reckoned that there were only a few people who wanted to ruin the auction. Recently, there was a new election for the clan's cabinet, and those people definitely wanted to make things difficult for her. That way, she would be able to lower her score among the elders. Then, those people might be able to take the opportunity to rise. The person looking for me is an old man. He's quite strong. Actually, half of the reason why I came was forced by this old man. Although I'm good at escaping, I'm still powerless against a heaven immortal. Shi Qian shrugged with a wry smile. Yi Zichen and Zhuo Mo looked at each other. Old man, a sky immortal. From each other's eyes, they could see each other's guesses. Right at this moment, Elder Lin, who hadn't appeared earlier, rushed up the stairs from the 6th floor. When he saw the subdued Shi Qian, his expression instantly froze. Yes, it's this old man. Everyone from the treasure tower looked over. When they saw that it was actually Elder Lin, they were all astonished. Zhuo Mo smiled meaningfully. When Elder Lin noticed everyone's strange expressions, he walked up and acted like he didn't know what was going on. What's going on? This old man sensed something strange in the north, so I went over to take a look. Elder Lin, are you sure? Zhuo Mo smiled. This divine thief just told me that you ordered him to ruin the auction. Nonsense. Elder Lin's expression froze. He rolled up his sleeves, then quickly walked in front of Shi Qian with a snort. Just kill this kind of scum. Elder Lin's right hand glowed with a strong killing intent as he slapped towards Shi. Elder Lin, why are you in such a hurry? Isn't it just nonsense or not? Can't we just face each other? Yi Zichen raised his hand and received the slap. With 2 layers of protection, the slap caused Yi Zichen's arm to feel numb, while the blood in his chest churned. Shi, who stood behind Yi Zichen, revealed a hint of emotion in his eyes. This brat saved his life. Yi Zichen, Mo quickly held him up, while her eyes were filled with worry. Yang Jian and Zhu Ganglai glared fiercely at Elder Lin and wanted to make a move. Yang Jian, old pig, Yi Zichen shouted. Yang Jian and Zhu Ganglai retreated with a frown. Brat, what are you doing? Elder Lin's heart was filled with shock. His angry slap was actually blocked by the brat. He did find Shi. The title of divine thief wasn't for nothing. He thought that Shi would be able to accomplish anything. Elder Lin had calculated the time for him to return. If Shi succeeded, then he would be able to use this chance to complain about Mo to the elders. However, he didn't expect Shi to be captured. He couldn't allow his deeds to be exposed, so he could only slander Shi. Young lady, this brat colluded with Shi. They actually want to harm you. You should know very well that I'm on your side. The reason why they threw this dirty water at me is to weaken your power in the clan. Young lady, think about it. Old Lin has done his best for you for so many years. Don't you trust me? Elder Lin knelt on the ground, while the others couldn't help but be moved by his emotional expression. However, Yi Zichen merely smiled in response, so Mo merely laughed coldly. Done his best. Are you trying to say that Yi Zichen got close to me because Qingqing told him to? This old man isn't certain, but he definitely isn't a good person. Elder Lin rebuked angrily with bloodshot eyes. Geezer, you're truly shameless. I, the divine thief Shi, have always been a man of my word. You clearly told Laozi to come and ruin it. You even said that all the treasures would be mine after it's done, and that you would give me 3% of the treasure tower's profits. It had nothing to do with this little bro at all, and you still want to slander me? Elder Lin snorted. Look at the loophole in your words. It's one thing for all the treasures to be yours, but 3% of the profits? This old man is merely the leader of the guest chamberlains. How could I promise you something like that? You're truly shameless. Shi cursed. So the Mo, who had been standing on the side, also raised her eyebrows with a smile. Why can't I? As long as you take me down, then Qingqing will ascend to the throne. How is it possible that you can't give me something like that? Young lady, Elder Lin said in terror. Why don't you believe me? Yi Zichen, what do you think we should do? So Mo ignored Elder Lin, who was kneeling on the ground, and looked towards Yi Zichen, who had remained silent. Chapter 523. Death Exemption Token and Tower Head Token. None of the people from the Treasure Tower expected Mo to think so highly of Yi Zichen. She didn't ask the guest chamberlains for their opinion, and instead asked Yi Zichen, who had nothing to do with the Treasure Tower. At the same time, none of them expected Yi Zichen to make such a decision kill. That's a sky immortal expert. Someone of that level could be said to be at the peak of the 3 realms. He actually killed him just like that? Of course, the most important thing wasn't his decision, but their young ladies. Yi Zichen was not someone from the Treasure Tower, so he naturally didn't care about the issue of combat strength. However, as the future leader of the Treasure Tower, the young lady should have her own thoughts. Then we'll do as you say. To everyone's surprise, so Mo agreed without even retorting. Not to mention the people from a Treasure Tower. No one would believe such a situation if they were in their place. Young lady, Elder Lin is a sky immortal. One of the guest chamberlains couldn't help but speak up. So Mo merely smiled. So what if he's a sky immortal? Since keeping him alive is a problem. So what if he's an immortal king? Her calm tone caused the guest chamberlains to fall silent, while those who wanted to stop her also shut their mouths. Why do you have to decide this old man's death with just a few words? I came to the Treasure Tower because the Tower Head personally invited me. What right do you have to kill me without the Tower Head present? Elder Lin snorted with a frown. Mo nodded with a smile. Indeed, you were personally invited by my father, but do you remember the original reason for inviting you here? However, do you still remember the original reason why he invited you here? You came for the better development of the treasure tower. Even if there's a power struggle within a treasure tower, he gave you the position of a guest elder commander so that you can be impartial, not to disrupt the internal order. Do you really think that my father and I can't see what you've done in the past few years? You used your high position to extort profits from private merchants. You also used your position to embezzle resources, lie about the prices of resources, and murder an elder council member. Do you really think that we don't know? Zwamo's expression turned colder as she spoke. The expressions of the surrounding guest chamberlains drastically changed, while Elder Lin's expression also turned dark. Zwamo smiled as she took a step forward. I have many of your crimes here. Do you want me to list them one by one? What a load of nonsense. Elder Lin's expression darkened, and he snorted, I think you've lost your mind. As a pavilion master candidate, you can't see right from wrong, and instead, you're obsessed with love. You don't have the qualifications to be a pavilion master. That's not for you to decide. Mo continued to smile calmly, then twitched her mouth. Even if you've committed the crime of writing tens of thousands of IOUs, you shouldn't have tarnished the treasure tower's reputation. We have tolerated you for so long because we wanted you to realize your mistakes and mend your ways. But you have disappointed us. Yo, what's going on? It's so lively. At this moment, Zhuo Chung swayed her hips as she walked up the stairs. She looked playfully at Zhuo Mo and raised her eyebrows with a smile. Sister, what are you doing? Elder Lin is actually kneeling to you? Don't you know Elder Lin's contributions? Sister, you're not the pavilion master yet. How dare you do such a thing? Since when was it your turn to discipline me? Zhuo Mo glanced at Zhuo Chung and said, Didn't I just say that you shouldn't have come to this place? Why did you still come here? We are both from the treasure tower, so why can't I come to the treasure tower's territory? Zhuo Chung walked over with a faint smile and helped Elder Lin up. Elder Lin has done a great service to the treasure tower. Even if he has committed a crime, the pavilion master has to personally judge him. You don't have the right. With that, Zhuo Chung helped Elder Lin out and said, Elder Lin, let's go. There's no need to be angry with her. I'll definitely report you properly when I return to the clan. Elder Lin snorted coldly and prepared to leave with Zhuo Chung. I'd like to see who dares to take a single step out of here without my permission. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. A woman stood in each of the 8 directions on the 7th floor of the treasure tower. These 8 could be said to be the elite forces that Zhuo Mo had secretly nurtured. These women all had rather good looks. More importantly, he was extremely powerful. Zhuo Chung, who was about to leave, also stopped and turned around with a smile. You're right, she said. Is big sister going to fight with little sister here? This has nothing to do with you right now, but you just had to interfere. I don't mind attacking you right here. Zhuomo's eyes were filled with darkness. Her chilling gaze caused Zhuo Ching's expression to change. She was not joking. She really wanted to do it here. Ha ha! Ha ha! Elder Lin suddenly laughed out loud. He turned around with a sinister look in his eyes and held a golden token in his hand. This is the death exemption golden token that the pavilion master gave me. Without the pavilion master, who would dare to touch me? I didn't expect you to ask my father for it. It seems like you already knew this would happen, right? Zhuomo's expression did not change. Elder Lin also smiled sinisterly. We're all humans, after all. We have to leave some backup plans for ourselves. The death exemption medallion is something that only the pavilion master has the authority to do to me. You are not qualified to do so. What you said is true. But since you know to leave a way out for yourself, do you think my father doesn't know? Yi Zichen. Zhuo suddenly glared at Yi Zichen. Yi Zichen, who had been waiting on the side, took out the token that Yang Jian had given him. Do you want it? Yi Zichen handed the token over with a smile. Zhuo nodded with a smile. It really is with you. Zhuo nodded with a smile. It really is with you. Then, she took the token with a smile and scolded coldly. It really is with you. Seeing the token is the same as seeing the pavilion master. Now, I announce on behalf of the Pavilion Master that Lin Xiong will be removed from the guest chamberlains from now on. Due to the damage to the treasure tower's reputation, due to him colluding with outsiders, he will be killed without mercy. Whoever dares to plead for him will be dealt with as an accomplice. Zhuo Qingqing's forceful words caused Lin Xiong to be in dire straits. Zhuo Qingqing, who was supporting him, also subtly pulled her hand out. Lin Xiong was merely one of her chess pieces. She only appeared because of his high cultivation and status in the clan. But now that Zui Mo had even taken out the Pavilion Master token, she didn't want to take the risk. Removed from the guest seat? Even at this point, Lin Xiong was still laughing heartily. Soon after, his gaze instantly turned cold as he said, "Little girl, it's not that this old man didn't give you a chance, but you forced my hand. Kill me? This old man wants to see who's going to kill who." Yes, there was a problem. All the guest chamberlains were of the sky immortal level. Even if Zhuomo's elites were present, they were only of the sky immortal level. The difference between sky immortals and human immortals was like a ravine. There were plenty of human mortals in the three realms, but only 1 in 10,000 human mortals could break through. Chapter 524. Unable to resist the moment Lin Xiong said that, the surrounding guest chamberlains were truly in a dilemma. They needed to listen to Zhuo Mo, who had the pavilion head token, but Lin Xiong was a sky immortal level expert. Were they really going to die? Between their lives and loyalty, they chose their lives. Little girl, you want to touch this old man? Why don't you take a look at the strength of the people around you? When you get to the underworld, you'll definitely complain to King Yama and say that your ignorance ruined your life. Lin Xiong laughed maniacally. This was the reason why he dared to be so arrogant. All of the guest chamberlains present were brought up by him, so he knew very well what they were capable of. In this place, he was the heavens, and no one could touch him. Do it, Zhuo Mo shouted with cold eyes. The surrounding guest chamberlains cowered and didn't dare to come forward. However, her female subordinates rushed forward without any regard for their own safety the moment she finished speaking. You're all a bunch of delicate women. Just pretend to be polite and play with men. You're still too young to fight me. Bang! All 8 of Zhuomo's complete stage sky immortal elites fell to the ground in an instant. Everyone raised their eyebrows when they saw that. A sky immortal is actually this strong? Only Zhuo Mo bit her lips with a frown. You broke through. It's too late to know now. Lin Xiong snorted coldly and completely revealed his mid-stage sky immortal strength. Die. Zhuo Mo and Lin Xiong were merely 10 meters apart. That was a distance that a sky immortal level expert could cover in the blink of an eye. Do it. At that moment, Yi Zichen stood in front of Zhuo Mo and roared. Lin Xiong, who was charging forward, suddenly stopped. When he turned around, he saw that there was a nail on his shoulder. At the same time, Yang Jian reached out with his right hand and pointed at Lin Xiong's forehead. Lousy hates it when people ignore me the most. You didn't even *King look at Lousy. Do you really think that your grandpa Yang Jian is someone to be trifled with? Bang! Yi Zichen flicked Lin Xiong's forehead, sending him flying. Come back to your grandpa pig. Zhu Ganglai grabbed the 9-tooth nail and pulled Lin Xiong back to where Yang Jian had flicked him. You're back. I'll flick you again. Get your grandpa pig back. You're back. I'll give you another one. Yang Jian and Zhu Ganglai clearly started playing. Halfway through, Zhu Ganglai even let Yang Jian grab the rake while he bounced a few times. He repeated this process dozens of times. Lin Xiong's head had already been flicked by Yang Jian and Zhu Ganglai. When the rake was removed from his shoulder, Lin Xiong's head had already become an old man of longevity. He staggered around the auction house as if he was drunk and finally fell to the ground with a thud. It was unknown whether he was dead or alive. You really can't play. Yang Jian shrugged his shoulders resentfully, but the people around him were stunned. Just how powerful were these two? They didn't even use any spiritual energy, but they were able to play with Elder Lin, who was a mid-stage sky immortal, in their palms. Brother, we've taken care of him for you. However, you guys still have to make up for the last one. It's not good for us to kill in this land. Understood. Yi Zichen nodded with a smile, then shot Mo a meaningful glance. I'll leave it to you. Lock Lin Xiong up and bring him back to the clan for the Pavilion Master's judgment. So Mo wasn't that ruthless to deal with Lin Xiong right here. The surrounding guest chamberlains hurriedly restrained Lin Xiong, while Yi Zichen also looked towards where Zhui Qingchang was. When did she run? So be it. I never planned to do anything to her in the first place. Zhuo Mo snorted, then handed the medallion back to Yi Zichen. What? Back then, he had accepted it because Yang Jian had given it to him. But now that he knew it was the Treasure Tower's pavilion head badge, he didn't dare to accept such a precious treasure. Since it's a gift, it's a gift. I was just borrowing it just now. This token will be of great help to you in the future. Please accept it. Yi Zichen hesitated for a moment, then accepted the medallion. So Mo spoke up once again. I'm going to send Lin Xiong back to the clan. He might not be staying in Maple City for a while. If you need the Treasure Tower's help, then just bring this medallion over. Before I leave, I have something to tell you. What? The people from the Treasure Tower left with Lin Xiong in custody. Yi Zichen left the tower with Yang Jian and Zhu Ganglai, then found a restaurant to sit down. The ingredients here are truly too lousy, but I, old pig, don't mind. Zhu Gangli's title of envoy of the purified altar was not given for nothing. Yi Zichen had specially prepared a lot more food in consideration of Zhu Gangli's appetite, but even then, it wasn't enough for him. That was even under the premise that neither he nor Yang Jian had touched their chopsticks. Laozi has always wondered how you managed to survive your pilgrimage to the west. Yang Jian couldn't help but retort. Old pig, eat until I'm full. I won't be hungry for half a month. What do you know? Zhu Ganglai twitched his mouth at Yang Jian, then picked up the plate and licked it again. That's King enough. Yang Jian rolled his eyes at him and got up from his chair. Suddenly, he frowned and snorted. Who's outside? Creak. The door of the private room was pushed open, and Shi Qian, who they had caught earlier, walked in. Why are you here? Yi Zichen was momentarily stunned. I didn't take Shi Qian with me when I left the treasure tower. Yi Zichen and company ignored him, so they left as well. I didn't expect him to follow me again. I followed you here. Shi Qian scratched his head, licked his lips, and said, I, Shi Qian, am not an ungrateful person. You saved my life at the auction just now, so I'll follow you from now on. My life is yours. I saved you? Yi Zichen was stunned. Is there no such thing? Shi Qian was also stunned for a moment. He raised his eyebrows and said, At that time, that old man wanted to slap me to death, but I seem to have blocked him. Yes. Yi Zichen nodded, but he really didn't think that much at the time. Then isn't that fine? You saved me back then, so I'll follow you from now on. What's more, I feel like following you is definitely better than doing it alone. Shi Qian nodded excitedly. But I'm not a bandit. That's fine. What's more, who would be willing to do that sort of sneaky thing if they could do a proper job? Shi Qian's tone was filled with sincerity. Boss, are you willing to take me in? For some reason, Yi Zichen suddenly recalled what Zui Mo had said to him, but he didn't pay too much attention to it. Chapter 5:25. Huge trouble. Yi Zichen found out from his conversation with Shi Qian that Shi Qian had been alone ever since he arrived in the Immortal Region. Yi Zichen didn't ask about his past self. What if it really turns out to be Shi Qian of Liangshan? Yang Jian and Canopy Marshal stayed in the Immortal Region for roughly 3 days. During that time, Yi Zichen wondered why they didn't hurry back to the Heavenly Court. They asked for sick leave. That's what Yang Jian, who was munching on melons, told him. All in all, they settled down in Spiritual Breeze Village. Since they settled down, the two of them naturally took up the responsibility of teaching the villagers how to cultivate. Even Master Li, whose Mo left behind, managed to increase his cultivation level under Yang Jian and Canopy Marshal's guidance. During that period of time, Yi Zichen only did one thing. Should I establish my own faction or not? In troubled times, being a commoner wasn't as safe as being a general. The main reason was that a general would have the ability to protect himself when the enemy came, and the soldiers could help him defend. Although it wasn't a troubled time, no one knew when the demon realm would attack. What's more, Yi Zichen had to go to the demon realm to save Xiao Yumei. Thinking about that, Yi Zichen felt like it was necessary for him to become that general. Then the problem was, where was he going to get the money to establish his own faction? He had maintaining Beauty Corporation to back him up in a modern realm, but now, Treasure Tower? What a joke. Although their relationship was rather special, he couldn't just ask for money from them, right? Even if Zhuo Mo would give it to him, would the faction belong to the Treasure Tower or him? He was very hesitant. What's more, he needed fame and a reason for people to follow him if he wanted to establish his own faction. Was money enough? That was definitely not enough. At the very least, he needed a reason for people to respect him and follow him obediently. Then, Yi Zichen set his gaze upon pill refiners. According to his understanding of pill refiners after being in the three realms for so long, pill refiners were extremely popular existences in the continent. What's more, high-level pill refiners had many experts following them. More importantly, pill refiners were all rich. Mo had once told him that the resources of powerful pill refiners were no less than that of the Treasure Tower. Old Lord Taishang is a pretty good choice, but this geezer doesn't want to teach me. Yi Zichen scratched his head as he sat on the bed. His phone was right in front of him, but he didn't touch it. Try again. After thinking about it for a long time, Yi Zichen decided to have a proper chat with Old Lord Taishang. Move them with emotion and reason. He believed that the old man would be touched. Yi Zichen clicked open the social media app on his phone. Before he could go and find Old Lord Taishang, he saw several people send him messages. God of Thunder, Sky Sovereign, you tricked me. God of Fortune, Sky Sovereign, what you're doing is not right. Moon Lord, what's going on? Third Prince Neza, the group is exploding. Immortality Peach Fairy, bro, the group is in an uproar. Hurry up and come out to take a look. The gods of the Heavenly Court are all in trouble. Yi Zichen was a bit confused when he saw the private message. He subconsciously clicked into the red packet server. Awkward silence. The most recent message was sent half an hour ago. This situation was quite inconsistent with the popularity of the group. According to common sense, not to mention half an hour, even if it was 10 minutes, there would be 999 plus cases. What's going on? Yi Zichen scratched his head, then flipped up until he reached. The Jade Emperor entered the group by scanning the QR code. This should be a matter of some sort. Yi Zichen muttered. Since the Jade Emperor entered with his main account, it was definitely because God of Thunder, God of Fortune, and company angered the little prince. The Jade Emperor directly entered with his main account due to his anger. Yi Zichen took a look at the chat history below. Jade Emperor, everyone come out. Immortality Peach Fairy, greetings to the Jade Emperor. Third Prince Neza, hello, Uncle Jade Emperor. Barefoot Immortal. Oh my god, why did the ruler enter the group? This group is really angry. God of Fortune, greetings to the leader. God of Thunder, boss, why did you come? Oh yeah, little prince, this grandson leader pretends to be you every day. You told him to open his main account, but he didn't. Hurry up and banish him to the mortal realm. God of Fortune, yes, this grandson, Jade Emperor. Jade Emperor. Laozi is the little prince. Lai Zinzi, Zhao Gongming, didn't you too tell this emperor to open his main account? Jade Emperor, say something come. Even though Yi Zichen wasn't there, he could imagine the atmosphere in the group. Silence. Jade Emperor, calling him grandson every day must be fun, right? Lai Zinzi, what about you? Zhao Gongming, didn't you say that you weren't going to give Laozi a year-end bonus? Jade Emperor, say something to Laozi again. Yi Zichen looked at the time of the message, then looked at the time of the private message. It seems like it was at that moment. There was no need to look at the rest. It was definitely because the Jade Emperor got angry and kept yelling in the group. The other deities naturally didn't dare to get angry, so they just squinted their eyes. The group became quiet just like that. Yi Zichen left the group. It was fine with the others. He truly felt a bit sorry for God of Thunder and God of Fortune. But what could he do? The Jade Emperor didn't allow him to say anything. Yi Zichen licked his lips, then sent a message to God of Thunder in a testing manner. No reply. Then, he sent another message to God of Fortune. Sky Sovereign, you screwed us over. God of Fortune instantly replied. No, how's the situation on your side? Yizichin smiled coyly. However, when he thought about it, what he said was nonsense. Since the Jade Emperor was so angry, how could the two of them have a good time? Lizenzi is talking to the Jade Emperor inside. I'm standing guard outside the hall. It seems like it'll be my turn soon. Sky Sovereign, our relationship isn't that bad, right? Since you know that he's the Jade Emperor, why didn't you tell us? God of Fortune truly wanted to cry. I actually scolded my leader in the group, and the highest leader at that. Isn't this just seeking death? I already warned you guys not to argue with the little prince. You guys didn't listen. The moment Yizichin sent the message, he saw Yang Jian and Zhu Ganglai appear at his door with their heads lowered. Wait, did the Jade Emperor find you guys as well? No, Yang Jian replied with a sullen expression. But someone in the group told us that the little prince is the Jade Emperor. Old Pig and I seem to have argued with the Jade Emperor as well, so we're thinking of hurrying back to receive our punishment. As for the Canopy Marshal, he did not say anything, but the resentment in his eyes, just screw us over. That's definitely what he thought. Bro, I don't know if we'll see each other again after returning to the Heavenly Court. However, it is my, Yang Jian's, fortune to be able to become sworn brothers with you. Yang Jian spoke as if he was saying his last words. Bro, I'm in big trouble this time. Ha! If I'm really unlucky, remember to give me a few packets of Erguo 2 and burn a few books for me. Don't let me be too lonely. With that, he put his arm around the Canopy Marshal's shoulders. Let's go. Chapter 526. Lingxiao Palace Southern Heavenly Gate. Yang Jian and Canopy Marshal were both clad in armor. Beside them was a man wearing a black cloak that completely covered his face. Hey, Immortal Marshal, where did you come back from? A guard in the Heavenly Court hurried over with a smile, then cast his gaze on the black-robed man. May I know who you are? Don't ask what you shouldn't. If I tell you who this person is, I'm afraid you'll be scared out of your wits, the Canopy Marshal scolded. At this moment, Yang Jian also spoke up. Where is the Jade Emperor? It's the soaring Heaven King Palace. The two of you should have seen it. Mr. God of Thunder and Mr. God of Fortune were called to the soaring Heaven King Palace by the higher-ups. Looking at the time, they should still be there. Hearing this, the Canopy Marshal and Yang Jian both gulped in confusion. He had really gotten himself into big trouble. All right, patrol this area properly. Let's go meet the Jade Emperor, Yang Jian said calmly. He summoned a cloud, grabbed the black-robed man next to him, and stepped on it. The Canopy Marshal leapt into the air and flew towards the great hall behind him. The soaring Heaven King Hall was the first hall after the Southern Heavenly Gate. In just a short while, the three of them arrived outside the hall. The God of Fortune, who had just told Yizichin that he was waiting outside the hall, had already disappeared. Yizichin guessed that the God of Fortune had entered the hall. Canopy Marshal licked his lips as the three stood at the bottom of the cloudy palace of the Golden Arches. Are we really going up? What if we don't go up? Yang Jian sighed. We did indeed insult the Jade Emperor, that's true. Now that we're both serving in the Heavenly Court, we're not as carefree as that monkey. But the Jade Emperor didn't look for us. Maybe, as soon as the Canopy Marshal spoke, their phones rang at the same time. They took out their phones and looked at the message. Their faces immediately turned ashen. The Jade Emperor is looking for you. The black-robed man on the side couldn't help but ask. Yang Jian nodded and put his phone back into his pocket. We're done for. Monkey Bro said that the Jade Emperor is a little narrow-minded. What else can we do? We can only brace ourselves and do it. Yang Jian tidied up his armor, then turned to the black-robed man and said, Brother, why don't you go back to your residence and rest for a while? Old Pig, we'll come find you after we come out. I'll go with you. Sky Venerable, you're really generous. If Sky Venerable was here, maybe the Jade Emperor would give you face and not punish you so heavily. Canopy Marshal chuckled to the side. Yang Jian gave the black-robed man a heavy look before walking towards the palace. True Lord Erlang, Canopy Marshal. Outside the palace, a brown-haired, green-faced man revealed a hesitant expression. The canopy marshal raised his eyebrows and smiled. Brother Wang Mo, you're actually on duty. Where are the others? The other 3 brothers have gone to play cards. Wang Mo nodded with a smile and could not help but say, Why did you come here at this time? The Jade Emperor is angry, so I advise you not to go in. I don't want to go in either, but the Jade Emperor asked us to come. What's the situation inside? The canopy marshal revealed a worried expression. Last time, he had been banished to the mortal realm because he angered the Jade Emperor. If it were to happen again, thinking about it, there seemed to be 4 people going to the Western Paradise for the scriptures, and this time, it seemed to be 4 as well. If they were really going to take the scriptures, then which one of them would be the master? Thinking about how he had gone to the Western Paradise for the scriptures, he would be the master. Yang Jian and God of Thunder were quite strong, so they wouldn't be in too much danger. With the God of Fortune around, they wouldn't have to worry about food. Thinking about it that way, being banished wasn't too bad either. The God of Fortune chatted with me quite a bit earlier, and Lai Zinzi has also been training inside. The situation isn't too good, but the Great Sage just came, so I don't know what's going on inside. Wang Mo replied plainly. Yang Jian and the others looked at each other, and the canopy marshal raised his eyebrows and smiled. You said my monkey bro is here? Yes, just now. We haven't been in for long. Wang Mo nodded and replied. With monkey bro here, there shouldn't be any problems. The canopy marshal let out a sigh of relief. He was the one who found the great sage on the way back to the heavenly court, so the only one who could suppress the Jade Emperor was his monkey bro. Thinking that he might be fine when the time comes, the canopy marshal grinned. All right, then don't stop us here. Hurry up and let us in. But who might this be? Wang Mo hesitated. He couldn't sense any immortal chi from the black-robed man. Also, the man's makeup made him suspicious. The cloudy palace of the Golden Arches had decreed that they had to wear formal attire, which was the life armor of immortals. He's here to cheer us on, so don't worry about it. Let us in. If that geezer Jade Emperor blames us for being late, then you'll have to treat old pig to dinner tonight. Don't. Wang Mo hurriedly raised his hand and shook his head. Last time, he treated the canopy marshal to a meal and ate a month's worth of his salary. His face had turned green. TCH, stingy. The canopy marshal curled his lips. Wang Mo smiled and took a step back. Good luck, everyone. The canopy marshal was completely at ease now. He'd been cowering and didn't dare to step forward, but this time he actually took the lead and walked up the stairs. Yang Jian and the black-robed man looked at each other, shook their heads, and smiled, then followed behind him into the cloudy palace of the Golden Arches. Monkey, just what do you want? In the palace, the Jade Emperor's face was filled with helplessness as he stood there with a frown. The great sage put on his shoes and squatted on the Jade Emperor's throne in the main hall. He grabbed a peach in his hand and smiled. That geezer Jade Emperor is too stingy. God of Fortune and Lei Jinzi said a few words about you in the group, but that's only because you're using a smurf account. You deserve to be scolded for not using your main account. Why did you bring them all here? God of Fortune and Lei Jinzi lowered their heads and didn't say anything. They were starting to get excited. Although this monkey was naughty and mischievous, he was definitely an expert against the Jade Emperor. What does me disciplining my subordinates have to do with you? This emperor has never summoned you. This emperor has already turned a blind eye to you, stealing peaches from the Immortality Peach Garden. But now you still dare to come here and cause trouble? The Jade Emperor furrowed his brows in anger. The great sage scratched his head and chuckled, so stingy. How petty. Forget it. I, old son, came here because my junior brother told me to come. I heard you summoned him as well, so I, old son, came to support him. Let's see if your judgment is fair or not. But your junior apprentice brother hasn't. Before the Jade Emperor finished speaking, Yang Jian and the other 2 walked into the palace side by side. The great sage grinned, then jumped down from his chair.